Hello and welcome to today's stream on Celestial Esports. Today we're going to be covering Celestial Vacuity versus Baron Steelers as they go head to head in this best of three. Um, so yeah, we're going to be getting into draft very shortly, right about now, as we will be straight in.
Yeah, draft should be starting any second now. Both teams are getting ready. Are they doing in-game draft or are we getting a lobby? Oh, okay, we're doing in-game draft. Completely fine. Um, are you curious about any specific thing? Are you hoping to see something specific?
I mean, I was told about the Master Yi possibly coming out from Celestial, which is very interesting because obviously you don't see that coming out quite a bit here. But obviously, I think the meta has shifted quite a lot recently when it comes to these sorts of games. So I'm very interested to see how the drafts might differ from what we're perhaps used to, or if it's going to be more standard and going more towards comfort, or if we'll see those champions that have been buffed and changed recently appearing more frequently throughout this series.
Definitely, that's going to be something. Oh, Rammus is disabled for these games. However, I wasn't really expecting Rammus, especially since it's not a jungler I've seen in either of the junglers' OPWGs. Talking about OPWGs, though, from the side of Baron Steelers, we have 380 carry mates. So that's going to be something special.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it will be. I'm not even sure like what we're going to be seeing from the side of Baron Steelers because, well, ADC is possibly the most bog standard role. Like in pretty much every other role, you have multiple classes that can be flexed inside of that role, but ADC is very much the strictest. You are pretty much locked into playing marksman and like the odd mage here or there. So when it comes down to a team, if you had to have 5 members that all play one role on a team, I would much expect like 5 top laners or junglers than I would 5 ADCs. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see what we're going to see pulled out in this game.
Yeah, definitely. From the side of Celestial, who are starting on the blue side, I'm curious to see what they will first pick, because what I've seen from them before is they tend to go with this AD carry or jungler and first pick. And their mid laner definitely has some good blinds when needed, but they don't really pick it at, like on a B1 most of the time. So I'm very curious to see how they're gonna use this B1 pick, since they have selected this blue side, and if they will adapt any of their strategy to their side selection. We will be heading into draft right now, though, so we can
Yeah,
start
here we
seeing
are.
some things. Talia being banned
Talia.
away, it's a champion seen on the opponent side, but the rough part is the player that plays it is on the AD carry position, I believe. So it's very confusing to see what champions we will be seeing today. Ambessa being banned away makes a lot of sense. Last week, Cliff had an absolute banger of a game on this champion. He was completely demolishing, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think when you see like 380 carries, I think if you have someone's like pocket pick or a champion that they're quite strong on, there's always the possibility that you could see a role swap coming out. Like you take ADC this game and I'll go mid or something along those lines. So a respectable ban to be taken away that Talia, and the Gwen obviously just a strong pick, and it is something that is played a good bit by their top laner, their second highest games, and obviously Gwen is a very strong pick at the moment. It's usually good blind. You see it a lot on B1, but if Cliff isn't able to or not willing to pull it out as the first pick, it is a very sensible ban coming out of Celestial.
Yeah, Cliff is more of this like tankish player. He normally plays a lot of support in solo queue, so it's also very hard to pin down the champions you want to ban against him. So seeing this Ambessa and this Maokai and this Malphite, 3 champs he has pulled out before, makes a lot of sense because they don't really have any information on him. And he might be a big threat this game because on top lane there is the biggest rank again. Yes, rank doesn't tell you everything, but it does say something.
Yeah, it is a logical. I mean, I respect the decision to just ban out Cliff's champions and those top lane champions to try and give Rosh that, more of an easier time in the top lane when obviously, like you said, the rank difference doesn't mean the most, but it's going to be quite difficult obviously as like a bronze going up against a platinum player. You need a lot of comfort to be able to at least get through that lane matchup, and then hopefully you can group with the rest of your team or split push like you might want to see from a Dr. Mundo, whether this might be going top. It's always a possible jungle pick, as it has been played jungle quite a lot recently, but very much has come back into the limelight in the top lane thanks to Alois and his pushing.
I have also not seen any like real champions of Cliff that can really deal with this Mundo. Aesol being whipped out though, like it's one of Pharah's like more picked champions. It's like, really unusual to see it open like this. I am kind of worried that I'm gonna see some weird builds again, but it's fine. Shen being whipped out as well, it's a decent answer into Mundo with your really great early game damage, percent max health as well. Is that a Kassadin?
That does appear to be a Kassadin. We've got a lot of scaling going on from the side of Baron Steelers, the Mundo and the Kassadin. Very interesting picks coming out. I mean, they're going to be playing a lot towards that late game, but that does mean that Cliff on this Shen will have, quite a good bit of pressure, whereas like the only champion that isn't very catered towards that late game that we see so far is that Ezreal.
What I'm very worried about to see this Kassadin being drafted this early. Yes, he has a good lane matchup. Yes, the jungler's not picking something that has easy CC availability for against this Kassadin, but Shen has a great taunt. Support is still open, so you can see and we're not banning anything like the Rel, like the Leona that can normally shut it down very easily. So I'm just worried that this Kassadin is going to get CC'd. And I'm a big Kassadin enthusiast as well, but I'm just curious to see how he will pull back this game if they just manage to pick some CC champs here.
Yeah, he very much, if the draft is there from Celestial, can struggle in towards that late game on this Kassadin because, like you said, CC, a very, very strong counter to this late game Kassadin, but it does make sense, at least as far as the lane goes, for into this Aurelion Sol, because Aurelion does also want to scale up, and Kassadin himself can very much deal with that and scale up himself. And once he hits level 16, if the right answers aren't drafted by Celestial, can pop off. And the Nami she does have some CC, but it is not undodgeable from the Kassadin, right? The Aqua Prison is reasonably dodgeable, and if you can jump out of it, you can be quite safe. So it'll be an interesting game.
Oh, we still don't know who's going top. It could be either Mundo or Trundle. I think it's gonna be Trundle since it has a better laning phase into the Shen.
Most likely.
What I'm worried about is a lot of Kassadins, especially the lower mid elo ones, tend to go for the fleet footwork, tend to go for Word of Ages, into Star's Embrace. The issue with that rune setup and build is just, it takes so incredibly long for you to get online. And yeah, he has the quote-unquote free scaling lane against the Aurelion Sol, but one thing you have to keep in mind as well is it is a melee champion, so Aurelion Sol has a lot of opportunities to get 1, 2, 3 procs of his Q. So Aurelion Sol scaling is accelerated this game as well because he's playing against this immobile melee champion in the early game.
And especially with this Shen, it's going to be difficult for Kassadin to find a target to assassinate, right? You can go in, but as soon as that Stand United comes out of the Shen, you've got to immediately try and disengage because you can't burst through all of that shield. And as soon as the Shen comes out, you get taunted up and blown up with all the CC. And especially with the comp, I mean, the Nocturne, the Lucian, and the Nami, these are very strong in this early game. So if that can't be abused by Celestial, then Baron Steelers might have a better time scaling and going in towards the late game. But if Celestial can just beat them early game and transition that and snowball that into a win, it's going to be very hard for Baron Steelers to take this one.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you also look at the fact that if Aurelion Sol doesn't get shut down by a Morgana Q or something, he's gonna shred through your front line like crazy. Like that's damage from the Q every second. He does like when he has a proper amount of stacks. Of course, he does what 5 to 20% max health every second with it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure on the numbers, but that, I mean, he does have a lot of max health damage, and it's, even with the singularity, that's got that execute based on your max health. So both of these mid laners are obviously, they're wanting to scale, but it's gonna be, you know, it's not going to be one without the other. You're not going to be completely happy like, oh, I'm a Kassadin, I can just scale and Aurelion Sol will be useless late game. He will certainly not be useless late game. Even though Celestial have drafted the earlier composition, they do still have that Aurelion Sol to fall back on once he gets all of those stacks and can just start shredding. And Mundo is obviously a champion that builds primarily health. So when you have that max health magic damage coming through, it's so easy to take down a Mundo as opposed to something like a Cassante or whatever else other tanky champion, because Mundo, he's very much a health builder as opposed to a resistances stacker.
Yeah, exactly. That so it's very curious to see how this game will play out in the long terms, especially. Um, if we look away from the mid lane, right, we also see this bot lane. We see an incredibly strong duo, a signature duo from like no, not that's signature. It's a typical duo more, like the Lucian Nami, super standard combo. I don't really think that Ezreal Morgana will be able to play that laning phase well, do they?
Yeah, I think it will be difficult. I mean, Morgana isn't going to have the easiest time at landing the dark bindings, obviously because Lucian can dodge away from them with the relentless pursuit quite well. And Ezreal, while he is quite strong inside of those early levels, you know, in like levels 1 and 2, and before you get that first back, Ezreal is very strong. I think Lucian Nami will probably win out the lane before the first item, like after the first recall. I would imagine that Lucian Nami will be winning, and the like just upfront DPS from Lucian is higher than the Ezreal, who's more reliant on the poke and hitting those Qs. But if Morgana can land some good roots, it will turn the tides of this bot lane quite quickly. So it will be depending on the skill of these bot lanes.
Yeah. We just had it into the loading screen, and I see a lot of normal runes, right? And I just instantly head back to this mid lane matchup where we got the first Strike Aurelion Sol versus the Conqueror Kassadin. And I get both of the runes. I personally would have liked to see other things, but I get the value behind it. Like Kassadin, we're playing a very tanky, consistent DPS comp, so we want to stay like in the fight long. We want to take long fights. But I in this lane, I personally think that Electrocute would have been really, really strong. And from the Aurelion Soul side, it's like, oh, we're playing versus a melee character. We can farm free gold with this first strike, so we're gonna take it, get some gold. I just think that in general, first strike doesn't give you that much value.
Hmm. I mean, it is. I've seen it a lot on Aurelion Soul because, right, you can tap the Q and then you get the proc, but obviously it does give you the gold based on uh how much damage you do during that window. And if you're tapping the Q, you are getting a little bit of gold, which is good into the melee of the Kassadin, but there are potentially better choices, like you mentioned, where I mean, both of these champions will be scaling. So we'll see if how much gold can really be generated here from this first strike. And looking down at the bot lanes, you see the PTA coming out of both of these AD carries, and we don't have the lethal tempo on the Ezreal this game, which makes sense because we've got four squishier sort of champions coming out from Celestial, so I like the PTA coming on Ezreal in this game.
Yeah, like I like how you mentioned the lethal tempo, because most of the time in these okay, in these lower elo brackets we see the Conqueror more often, but a lot of people don't realize how strong Ezreal's lethal tempo is because of how much attack speed he gains from his passive.
Yeah, Lethal Tempo Ezreal is a very strong. I mean, it's I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that you oftentimes see Ezreal's not using that passive attack speed to its full possibility, as much as you can. As there's a potential invade here. Rosh walking up, puts a ward down. It will get cleared away, but he does know what's happening and will call his team to help. And here is the Mundo. So it's a 3v2 as Mecha's coming over. It will push Cliff and Deadly Ghost out. Cliff will have to burn the flash, but there's the Ghost from Nagato, who was trying to catch up the Cleaver lands, which gives a nice slow, and Cliff only has that Q to try and pull that blade back, but it looks like Cliff will in fact fall for first blood going over to Rosh, and that is very much the opposite of what we mentioned might be happening inside of this top lane.
Yeah, I didn't expect we fight level 1 because Trundle is a champion that gets his lethal tempo stacked incredibly fast. He steals your AD, which makes you do so little damage. And yeah, it's Mundo, it's level 1. We see a trade on botlane happening. So it's a great level 2 spike.
Yeah, a nice Aqua Prison there lands, which chunks out Gaming Lord quite a bit. But even though the level 1 versus level 2 is in favor of Celestial, it is still some good trading back from the bot lane of Baron Stealers, as a nice Dark Binding does land and some Mystic shots do a good bit of damage. So overall, not too favorable for Celestial inside of that trade.
Yeah, which surprises me a lot because Nami Lucian is known for their early game damage, especially in the level 2 spike. But like you mentioned, the Dark Binding hitting there was really crucial for that trade to work out like that.
Yeah, very much. I mean, Ezreal is definitely no early game slouch either, and with the PTA, he's going to have more damage as a little bit of trading happens in the mid lane, but it seems no one's going to die. But yeah, Ezreal, especially with that PTA in the early game, he has got very high amounts of damage, and like level 2 and 3, even though it was still a level 1 Ezreal, but when that Ezreal has that fully stacked passive, he can do a lot of damage. As now he's looking to trade, but it's a level 3 here for Celestial as well. Throne taking a lot of damage, will go down. The barrier will be used from the Lucian, but it will not cause him to die, and it will be a kill traded back by Celestial's bot lane here.
Yeah, in this fight, we really just we're actually having an instant fight on top lane happening. Here with
Deadly Ghost is making their way over. Rosh does still have the flash, so we'll be able to at least get out of that, if not saving the flash, which it looks like will be happening. Deadly Ghost not able to get there in time. Rosh does see that one and is able to get away without burning the flash.
Yeah, it was a long run after the Trundle. And I really think that even though he couldn't have won that, but Dark Binding coming out.
A beautiful flash with the Dark Binding. The heal tries to save the ADC, but unfortunately, Ikuya still goes down, and that's going to be another kill in return. Even though Mundo didn't really help that much, that was just all Gaming Lord and Frony here in the bot lane.
Yeah, he was there. He got an assist. He got some gold. He can accelerate his spikes especially harder now. It's a little gold, but it still works. Actually,
another top gank. Yeah, a flash will be used by Rosh, but he will get out of that one. He was trying to look for a ward, but Nocturne already sitting in that bush and will catch him off guard, will cause him to burn that flash. Very nicely played.
This is something I'm not really used to from the side of Celestial, playing this heavily towards this top side, like pathing towards it as well. I normally see them play somewhat more passive. Okay, what?
Yeah, speaking of passive, we've got the opposite of passive going in the bot lane, and Ikuya's taken some heavy damage from this Ezreal. He will be able to get healed up a little bit by that ebb and flow from the Nami, which will even it out a bit, but just this Ezreal does such good damage, even though the Lucian is up an entire pickaxe in terms of AD. It's a tier versus a pickaxe in the bot lane, and somehow this Ezreal is winning these trades. But in the top lane, Nagato's here on this Mundo. Rosh unable to join and follow up because he is farming that wave under his tower. So it will just be Nagato pounding on Cliff a little bit with that satchel. So not too much damage. Won't be able to force anything major out of the top lane or find a kill. But it will at least help Rosh inside of this 1v1.
There's so much happening in this game early on already. And from the side that we didn't really expect that from. We thought the early game was for Celestial to play, but it's just going downhill for them right now. I'm very curious to see how they will come back in this, because right now they have to make some play, get some lead, because their team comp in general just does worse than the enemy team.
Yeah, and it is in fact Baron Steelers who have the kill advantage, so they will be closer towards that feat. And Deadly Ghost will be trying to at least get something here by taking down this Drake, as Nagato was on the top side looking for a gank. It will be the Drake going over to Celestial, so that is something that they can certainly look forward to. But Deadly Ghost is now very low, is trying to eat some of the honey fruit, so maybe looking for something in the bot lane, as he maybe goes for an invade or to try and find something here to chunk out the bot lane of Baron Steelers. As Mecha's going in looking for a trade, but won't be able to find a kill.
Yeah, the Aceful is also very scary to dive when he has Singularity, I don't know how it's called precisely.
Singularity, that's the one.
Singularity, the E up. Like, it's so scary to just go under this turret, and he has the execute. Yes, it's not that big, but it slows as well. Proxy coming out from the Trundle here, getting punished for it.
Yeah, he will be taunted up by Cliff. He's trying to heal up off of the wave, which he will do. Will he be able to find the kill? He will. Cliff just gets absolutely dumpstered there. Uses the Ignite to try and stop some of the healing, but it still comes through, and the Subjugate just steals away so many of those resistances. Daddy Cliff is going to be the one who goes down, and without the TP, he's going to lose so many minions under this tower. Really well played by Rosh going for that proxy.
Yeah, that play, if Cliff didn't get the goal, we're seeing a play on bot.
Yeah, the barrier comes out of Frony, who tries to use the ultimate, gets a bit of damage, but now Cliff, using the Stand United in the bot lane, will save up Ikuya, picking up a kill onto Nagato as well, which is nice after you lose a lot in the top lane. But now you're going to have to get there again, as a nice falling star stops anything from happening in the mid lane. But I think that was just a bit too over-aggressive from Frony in the bot lane. Deadly Ghost goes in on the mid lane, but Mecha's able to just rift walk out of there and completely be safe.
Yes, that was a quite chaotic little minute. Trundle made a really, really good position there, because even if he died there, Shen would have lost some minions on her turrets. And by winning that, he makes sure that Shen loses a lot. So it's a low risk, high reward play to do that, because he kind of knows that he wins that. Actually, we see another play coming out from Trundle here on the grubs.
Yeah, Deadly Ghost is trying to get one of these grubs, but will go down first. And that's the third kill of this game for the top laner of Baron Steelers, as Nagato's trying to find Ferragosto. Will land the infected bone source, slowing him down and giving the kill over to Mecha. Very well played. Another kill for this scaling Kassadin. And I mean, that was just a really good play. They managed to pick up 2 of the grubs, so they get the point towards the feeder monster slaying. They pick up a kill onto Get Deadly Ghost, and then onto Ferragosto as well. Very much that play going in favor of Baron Steelers.
I don't think you can call it anything else, but Deadly Ghost instantly looking for another defending of his jungle here. I don't think he really wins this though.
Wait, but he managed to get the blue. The smite came out of Nagato, but it was too early, and the blue buff goes over to Ferragosto, which is... at least the blue buff was defended. I doubt they will be able to find a kill, especially with Mecha coming in. Deadly Ghost now forced to flash away. Wait. Hang on. Deadly Ghost is trying to run away, and there comes the falling star. It will land the stun, but the Rift Walk will get the damage onto Ferragosto, who's trying to get away. Will fall down as well. Deadly Ghost now has to run away, and I realize now that I completely missed what happened earlier, but Rosh trying to trade underneath the tower as he gets taunted up and takes a few tower shots there. So Daddy Cliff does find a decent trade out of that one.
Yeah, that fight Again, on the blue buff, I kind of understand Aesol wants to save his Nocturne. Kind of steps up a little too far. Kassadin gets a kill. Kassadin is playing the very heavy scaling build with World of Ages in top lane, actually.
Oh. Cliff is flashing under the tower, but the Subjugate heals up Rosh enough, even with the Ignite. So that's both summoners burnt out of Cliff, and Rosh just face tanks it with that Subjugate. And now Nagato's coming up in the top lane to try and find something as well, as the Astral Flight is used in the mid lane, but Mecha's trading back. He goes in with a Rift Warp, misses the E though, and Ferragosto will get away. As will Cliff in the top lane, so no kill is found there. But once again, Cliff not looking in a very good position, as Ferragosto gets level 9, so Mecha will stop looking for that trade.
Cliff is in a very, very rough spot right now. This Trundle is also going to be a menace in the side lane, because we don't really have anything to properly deal with him. Even though we used Ignite there, his Subjugate just heals him so much. And that was even without him using like the Frozen Domain, which boosts his healing even further. So if that's going to happen, I don't think we have enough anti-heal or damage to kill him inside.
Yeah, I mean, he's even got the Vamp Scepter. This guy's going to be healing up a lot at the moment as far as it stands. I mean, even the Ignite came through for the anti-heal. It was not enough to quell that healing. And now possibly a dragon fight being looked for here, as Mecha and Ferragosto once again trading in this mid lane. And Nagato making their way over, but Ferragosto does know and will choose to leave, as it's just Ferragosto has just crossed the 100 stack mark. So I believe that does mean that it will be the big boy upgraded ultimate for the next fight, if I'm not mistaken.
Nope. It's after he unlocks it, he needs 75 stacks. We can see it on the little icon over here. Right now, he still doesn't have it. It's really rough to check properly because I don't think we can see it. Yes, the casting crew cannot see it.
Yeah, I think it's just ticked over. It looked like the bar has just, like, the ultimate icon has in fact just changed. So it will be the upgraded ult for the next fight as Nagato goes in 1v3. But he does have a lot of healing from that maximum dosage. Another TP's coming out in the mid lane as a point blank culling does a lot of damage, but Nagato is too fast with the ghost. Tidal wave coming in. Will it find the kill? It will find the passive, but it won't find the kill. The big ultimate coming down will pick up the kill, but now inside of this fight, Gaming Lord trying to run away will not be able to do so. It's a double kill so far for Ferragosto. Mecha trying to make his way out of this fight as it's looking pretty dire so far. Cliff looking to try and taunt up Frony, but there is an arcane shift away. Flash forward from Ikuya, the flash to respond from Frony as Ferragosto picks up the 3rd kill and the 4th kill. That's a quadra separated by a few seconds there for Ferragosto, and a Drake 2nd of the game for Celestial Vacuity. A really good play there.
Yeah, Aesol is just burning them down with this Blackfire Torch. Blackfire Torch is Pharah's signature item. He builds it every single game. I have flamed him a few times for it. We don't talk about those ones. But it's really huge for this Aesol to get this little kill, little gold advantage, because now he is much safer, can get his really, really strong item spikes, and we see a fight happening on blue side already.
Yeah, Deadly Ghost maybe looking to bite off a bit more than he can chew, as Mecha's here as well, and the level 8 advantage is there for Nagato, and kill does go over to this Ezreal, and the blue buff has been successfully defended. Deadly Ghost maybe thinking he's a little bit stronger than he was, and then Mundo arrives to put him rightfully in his place. But so after a good fight, a good play from Celestial, they do have to do a little bit of throwing, but in the end, it isn't the worst thing that could have possibly happened.
Yeah, we're just seeing so much prio on these blue buff specifically heists going on from both junglers. I don't know why.
Yeah, neither of them have been successful so far. Well, I mean, one of them did result in a couple kills, but no one has actually stolen the blue buff just yet.
Just yet. We're gonna see what happen later in the game, hope.
Oh, I'm sure we will. Just like, I mean, there's been 2 so far. We're 15 minutes in, so if you extrapolate, you know, if you do the statistics, by the end of this game, there should be at least a couple more.
And hopefully otherwise the next game.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
Deadly Ghost is looking to come into the bot lane, but will hit that ward, so they will know what's going on. They will be able to walk away from that.
Paranoia is still active, which gives him a lot of pressure on this map. Oh,
Yeah, it
Five hanging
does.
on
As a
mid.
falling star lands, and there's the paranoia you were just talking about. Flash is forced out from Mecha in the mid lane, but Daddy Cliff fighting Rosh. Nagato is hiding around the corner, and Daddy Cliff will have to run away. The subjugate still taking away all of those stats, and Daddy Cliff is very, very much on the weak side here, as the paranoia was used in that mid lane instead of the top lane. It didn't find a kill, but it did find a flash, which does make this Kassadin reasonably vulnerable. Of course, he is safer than perhaps another melee champion with that Rift Walk. As we see a nice engage in the bot lane, Soul Shackles are massive. There's the True Shot Barrage. Gaming Lord picks up the first kill in this bot lane. They won't be able to find Pikaia, but they will be able to find Akuya. And that's a really, really good play from this Morgana, especially as the rest of his team is grabbing that Rift Herald up in the top lane. Ferragosto's coming in with the Astral Flight to try and pick off Nagato, who will get taunted up. A nice flash taunt from Cliff will pick up the kill. And it's a 1-for-1 across the map if you count that bot play.
Yeah, it's a fine play. One team makes a play on bot, the other one makes a play on top. Completely fine. I'm still just so worried about this Trundle as he hits 2 items. He just now gets his tier 1 boots. He's just been basing on so much gold every time that he's just building items instead of boots.
Yeah.
Oh.
As Gaming Lord tries to look for a little roam mid, but Astral Flight will get Ferragosto to safety and dodging away from that Dark Binding. Nothing except a little bit of damage traded there in the mid.
Yeah, this game is going to unexpected remarks. Let's say it like that. As we're seeing another little clear on this bot side, I'm thinking that Kassadin can actually fight those two, can he not?
He very much might be able to. I mean, the Essence Reaver and the BF Sword does make Akuya quite strong. Level 11 has just been achieved by Mecha, so he will have that level 2 ultimate, but perhaps not as another Dark Binding lands. But both this Nocturne and this Morgana do have spell shields, so it's going to be hard for them to CC each other. And it basically means that any fight between these two will probably just end up in one of them walking away to safety, as a nice paranoia in the mid lane finds its mark onto Frony, who does use the Arcane Shift to get away. A nice ultimate picks up the kill onto Deadly Ghost, and now they're looking for more. The heal is really strong out of Pikaia though with that Moonstone, as Frony's shifting back in. A nice Dark Binding lands as the maximum dosage is used, and bonk goes the satchel. A very a strong showing in the mid lane from Baron Steelers, a 2-for-0 so far.
They're playing incredibly aggressive and it's working out just fine, as this Shen is also just struggling in the side lane. The only one that's a bit struggling right now is the Kassadin getting bullied a bit by the Aurelians.
Yeah, he is in fact not having the best time at the moment. The Rylai's is a very painful item to play against, especially when you're a melee champion. You know, even though you do have a blink every however many seconds, it is still not fun to play into that Rylai's, and it gives Ferragosto a really easy time in this side lane, especially with those 5 kills. But it will look like it's going to be Baron Steelers answering back with their first Drake of the game, making it 2-1 in that department.
Yeah. Normally I would make a point as well with like, oh, ASOL's not a champion until he hits 200 stacks. Oh, he has reached it, so he's now a champion. But even though he is this weak in the early game, he still has 5 kills, so I can't really make that joke right now.
Yeah, he's very strong, as Ferragosto will use the Astral Flight to get away, and the turret will fall as well, thanks to those minions and the one grub that they have found themselves. So overall, very nice. Ferragosto is, like you said, 5-2, is certainly a champion, even in spite of not being the most well stacked up, not being very far into the late game. This is still a very scary Aurelian Soul, and he's even further expanding that lead by getting these turrets and bullying out Mecha on the side lane. As Gaming Lord looks for a Dark Binding, it won't land, as the Relentless Pursuit will get Akuya out, but Pikaia doesn't have any dash of their own except for the flash. Frony trying to land a few mystic shots. The True Shot Barrage comes in and finds the kill. No flash is used. Deadly Ghost is coming in here with the Stand United from Daddy Cliff. They will find 2 kills, and that play very much turned on its head. Nagato forced to run away with his tail between his legs, as 2 kills get traded back by Celestial Vacuity.
Oh,
He's
this
looking.
top turret is going to go down here. I don't think he
Yeah,
can defend this on his own.
it is a Trundle, a Mundo, and a Rift Herald versus a Shen. That is very much not what you want to see on your side lane as Mecha dodges away from the ultimate, but the Breath of Light is still so big. In comes Deadly Ghost to clean up the kill with the Paranoia as Mecha was actually very close to taking down Ferragosto. Both of the mid laners' flashes used, but one of them has a Nocturne, and that will be the one who comes out victorious.
Yeah, playing against a Nocturne is so scary in side lanes because, oh, I'm taking this 1v1. Oh, my screen just went dark. It's no longer a 1v1. There's just a Nocturne on me right now. He's really making you paranoid with this paranoia.
Well, I don't think Mecha was paranoid enough because he walked up too far and got jumped on by the paranoia, and now he's not here for this Atacon fight, which is started up by Baron Stealers, even though they are down a member. Cliff on the top side, though, doesn't have the TP or the Stand United, so won't be able to join. It's going to be a smite fight here. Deadly Ghost is going to find it as down goes two, one from each team, but it looks like Baron Stealers are winning the fight. A double and a triple so far for Frony. It looks like it's going to be a quadra kill for Frony on this Ezreal. That is one strong Ezreal. I'm not even sure how they won that fight, but it was definitely the Ezreal. The Atacon did go the way of Celestial Vacuity, but the fight went the way of Baron Stealers, and Mecha's trying to make it an ace, but Daddy Cliff is still 2 levels up in the top lane.
I really expected Aurelion Sol to just clean up there. We had a reset on the Astral Flight. He had a great position where he could kite around the wall, but we decided to W straight into them and kinda just die. He could have turned, I think, but it would have been a bit difficult still. And now
Yeah,
the
especially
enemy
with
team
that
just gets
ultimate being on
scorched.
cooldown from the earlier play. It's you know, well, you're definitely not a champion when you're dead, so it's not easy to do a lot from the dead. I mean, unless you're Karthus or Sion, which last I checked, Aurelion Sol was in fact neither of those champions.
Yeah, sadly not. How strong would a Aurelion Sol be though with a Karthus passive?
That might be insane because he would be able to use his W and just move while he's dead. That might be the most broken thing you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah, but he's just getting these items right now. He's finishing his Leon, but he's making sure that he does even more damage. If we see Celestial play properly around this Aurelion Sol, I think they should be able to win most fights right now.
Yeah, well, it now seems Cliff gonna have to flash away as in comes Fronian Gaming Lord. A nice dark binding Cliff, completely locked up, rooted. A tidal wave will be there, but it won't be in time as Cliff will go down, get picked off. And what in the hell is Navori Flickerblade Shen? I didn't even see that. What am I looking at? Is that the build?
Do you not know that build? It's a build that you normally go into these more side laney matchups, mostly because it allows you to shove these waves even faster and have way more dueling potential against a lot of champions, especially against skirmishers.
There's a nice culling. Gaming Lord will go down as Frony and Nagato looking to try and trade it back. The smite will slow down Deadly Ghost a little bit as Frony shifts in there, but gets blown up by Akuya. And now it's just Nagato standing. Mecha's coming in from the side, trying to pick up Akuya. Flash forward. Will be able to secure the kill, but now they're just dying underneath the tower. Rosh trying to save something of the play. Will be forced to flash, but will get taunted up. Maybe a little bit too deep. They find 2, but they lose everyone on their team.
Yeah, and during this fight, we saw a great example of one of Aurelion Sol's Eternals, the flying in the 80s, as you just get resets after reset after reset when he gets a kill with the W.
Yeah, well,
Makes his champion just very, very strong in fights, I think.
Yeah, it's not easy to dive when everyone is just dying to the tower and he gets infinite resets and can come back in and go back out and just completely evade your entire team. Now, Soul Point for Celestial Vacuity, which Cloud Soul is going to be pretty nice for this team to chase down. I mean, Lucian is so unbelievably good with the Cloud Soul. When you pop that culling, there's pretty much no way for you to ever get out of it. You can just land the entire ultimate. And I mean, the rest of the team, no slouches with the Cloud Soul either. The Nocturne can just, the sticking power of the Nocturne, especially when Deadly Ghost doesn't have the Hex Plate, is very strong with the Cloud Soul.
Yeah. Also, Nami is one of those champions that already gets a speed boost with her ult, so you can just call her Nami for stopping at this point.
Yeah. As a TP is coming in from Cliff, as it's so far a 3v5 until Deadly Ghost arrives. A nice ultimate there from Ferragosto to try and do something, but it will pick up the kill onto Rosh. In goes Cliff and Ghost. They will be able to pick up a good few kills in the backline. Mecha will trade the shutdown, but Frony is able to clean up Deadly Ghost on the back end. The auto attack flying through the air as Pikea picks up the kill onto Mecha. And Daddy Cliff now tries to run away as Frony shifts in. The shield just about blocks that last auto attack damage as he dodges away from the Mystic shot, but that arcane shift will be coming up very shortly as he shifts in and gets the kill. It's a 4-for-3 in the end, favoring Baron Stealers.
Yeah, but it does deny the Baron, so it kinda... It's on one hand, it's fine, on the other hand, it's really not, because they still have the gold lead on the side of Baron Stealers. Kassadin is almost level 16, right now it's level 15, I believe. So it's just gonna be very dangerous. That Ezreal ulti onto the wave to clear it, it's a smart decision, don't really get that much gold from it, but it still works.
Yeah. I mean, it does do 50% damage to minions, which is slightly sad, but it is still a good wave clear tool. And it's also something that, I mean, if you have 0 passive stacks, if you ult the wave, you get like fully stacked passive because it counts on each and every minion. So there's also that. If you ult early on like a minion wave, you can just fully stack your passive before either clearing a wave or going in for a fight.
Yeah, I also think that if it didn't do reduced damage on minion waves, it would be kind of broken. No, you just shoot it straight through mid when you want to go for an objective, and it's In another game, in another MOBA, there's actually a champion that does that with their ulti. He just clears the entire wave. And it's fun. We don't need that in League Riots. Don't spy on that one.
No, I think it would be very strong. And maybe a little bit very, very much overpowered, and you would very much never see a game without Ezreal Pickman inside a pro play.
Yeah, it just gives so much value. But then Aesol is actually level 16, while the other one is...
Ooh, a nice falling star. Mecha blown to smithereens, and now Gaming Lord has to try and get out, but the Paranoia doesn't even find the assist. Deadly Ghost just using that one to make sure there's no way this Morgana gets out, and now it's Baron on the cards for Celestial Vacuity. Can Baron Stealers live up to their name and steal the Baron? Nagato's coming in, ghosting straight for the Baron, and Baron Stealers steal the Baron. Nagato's trying to get out now. In comes Daddy Cliff with the Stand United, and Akuya's got a lot of damage. Rosh coming in from the side, Daddy Cliff jumping forward. Frony picks up the kill with the True Shot barrage. Rosh trying to lifesteal, trying to heal up, but will go down. So will Akuya, thanks to Frony here. Nagato ticking will go down to Ferragosto. Frony trying to jump out of the way, but will go down as well. But so will Ferragosto. It's a 3-for-4, but one team gets the Baron, and it's Baron Stealers.
Yeah, they do lose the Baron on every member though, but it's fine. They still get so much pressure from it. Or not really pressure from it themselves. They negate a lot of pressure from the side of Celestial here. And something that surprised me is that the champion that builds World of Ages gives you a level is down a level.
Yeah, that's a fully stacked Rod of Ages, and Mecha is still down. I mean, I would probably say it's about the 40 CS gap that Ferragosto has accumulated inside of this matchup.
Just hit 16, so Time Bomb has gone off. We will see a whole lot of pressure coming out from this Kassadin right now, and I think he will become #1, like public enemy #1 for the entirety of Celestial, which gives this Ezreal a lot of free fire range.
Yeah, this Ezreal 13, 6, and 5. That is still an incredibly strong Ezreal. He may not be a level 16 Kassadin, but he is still a 13 kill Ezreal with 4.5 items, with that last Whisper coming through as well. And those upgraded feet boots are incredibly strong for that movement speed. It allows you to kite so well, and you don't just have to play for that poke. You've got a lot of strength. And I mean, especially with the Cloud Soul, that it seems like Celestial are very much on their way to getting. Those boots are incredibly strong, but a lot of poke is still coming through from Baron Stealers, as they will kind of push Celestial out of this choke. So they won't be able to get the Drake just yet. Cliff looking for a flank, but the rest of his team not committing just yet. It's a 5v5 right now as it's going to be Lucian versus Kassadin on this mid wave. But now the Drake started up by Baron Steelers. And they're Baron Steelers, not Dragon Steelers. So we'll see if anything can be done about it. In goes Deadly Ghost with the paranoia. A lot of ults going over the wall, a tidal wave and a falling star as the first kill goes over to Ferragosto. The Stand United gets Cliff straight in the middle of everyone, and Ferragosto's over the wall, has to go golden to try and stop a lot of that damage. Nagato Mecha and now Gaming Lord just standing on top of them, putting the DPS in. That's 2 down so far, almost 3 as Frony shifts straight in. That's the 3rd kill of the game, of the fight for Baron Steelers. Cliff manages to get over the wall, but it's 4 kills for Baron Steel. It's a double kill, and they only lose 2 members.
Asol flashing into the pit, not having any escape, going golden, but when there's 3 people on top of you, you don't have your astral flight, you're just dead, man. Sorry to tell you that. Oh. It's also one of the things that I really notice is Aurelion Sol, Pharah keeps canceling the astral flight. Astral flight gives you so much damage with Breath of Light. It increases by, what, 15%?
Yeah, it's something like, it's a nasty combination when you see that Asol just flying towards you and breathing all over you. It's not fun, and you very much have to try and get out of there. With that Rylai's, it's so unbelievably strong, so not making the most out of that means that Baron Steelers are able to win out on that fight and get the Drake, which means they're slowly but surely coming back in the soul point department. There's now only 1 Drake in it, as Celestial Vacuity, they definitely want this Cloud Soul. Cloud Soul on a Kassadin is also pretty darn scary, and the Mundo, who has the Ghost, the maximum dosage, and a Cloud Soul, that's very much not something you want to see running at you. So Celestial Vacuity will really want to try and get this next Drake, or at least the one after that, if not the next one.
Yeah, but it's gonna be rough, especially if we keep fighting fights like that, where we're moving in late, we don't have the vision to secure it, we use a lot of crucial cooldowns to not get any value from it. Yeah. Fight happening on top. I don't think Roche dies, or does.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work out. There's a lot of healing and lifesteal from this Trundle, and now Daddy Cliff is going to be jumped on by the Avengers, but he's got a team of his own, maybe the X-Men incoming to try and help him. A nice falling star does a little bit of interruption, but Brony not able to, well, now able to get in range to do some of this damage. Daddy Cliff will be the first one to fall on the back end of this fight. Ikuya now just arriving, maybe a little bit too late, as Deadly Ghost will go down. Another kill over to Frony, and 2 dead for Celestial Vacuity. Ikuya just not able to join that fight early enough to put the damage down, and now they're gonna try and find this inhibitor tower in this top side. They got a lot of split pushes here, and they got a wave that is empowered by that hull breaker. Ferragosto trying to use the singularity to at least clear out some of that wave, but doesn't have an ultimate just yet. So that turret will go down, and almost certainly so will the inhibitor. Nagato just walking under that tower, gets a heart steal, that's worth, and will be able to walk away, as a lot of turret shots will deal a bit of damage. Frony shifting under the tower, that's crazy. Gaming Lord will also be the recipient of so much lead to his mouth. That's 3 kills just immediately taken down by Celestial, as now Akuya's going even further forward. He's got the flicker blades, he's got the resets on the E. Mecha's going down as well. It's looking like it's going to be an ace, as it's going to be a triple kill for this ADC, this Lucian, so strong. And now with no jungler available for Baron Steelers, they can't steal this Baron, and Celestial Vacuity will be able to pick that one up off of the back of maybe a little bit too far of an overextension from Baron Steelers.
Yeah, they were getting a bit too greedy, and I think that's going to cost them a lot of pressure, especially also with Drake coming up in 50 seconds. Celestial has Baron for Drake, so it's going to be really, really hard to get this lane prio. And even if we surrender the waves and go for full dragon fight, Celestial can also just choose to give this Drake and go for a proper Baron push on multiple lanes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Baron, the stats from the Baron means it's going to be very difficult, especially with those kills picked up giving some extra items, and the Zhonya's is online for Ferragosto. It is going to be a difficult fight for Baron Steelers to take if they don't find a pick, which Gaming Lord is very much looking to do. Cliff is coming in, but he won't be able to get there in time. The ult comes out late, and pop goes the Nami. It's now a 4v5. The Dragon is just spawning. A TP in the bot lane from Mecha means they're sending all 5 members to make sure that they can get this one. Deadly Ghost over the wall. He's got access to the Scry. He gets rooted up as Frony's trying to pop him down. He pops the Paranoia, he flashes over the wall. Will he go back in? He will not go back in. Soul point now for Baron Steelers as well, as both teams have it now.
Yeah, that was a bit risky from the Nami walking in there on her own. It's something very commonly said to a lot of players is when you're playing a poke support or an enchanter, make sure to have a body system where you go for wards, because always these kind of things happen, especially when they're playing big champs.
Yeah, Ferragosto trying to save himself with the falling star, the grand starfall, but Mecha is here as well. Frony sends in the ultimate. It will hit Deadly Ghost, but Ferragosto finds the first kill. Frony using the shift to get in there. And yeah, he does not fly far enough. It's a double kill for this Ezreal. As Rosh and Daddy Cliff are fighting on the bot side, we know who's the stronger of those two. As Akuya gets empowered by that Aqua Prison to try and run away. We'll be able to get out of that, and so will Daddy Cliff. But Rosh will be able to continue the split pushing onslaught in the bot lane and just heal to full off of this minion wave. It's going to be the second inhibitor opened up in the mid lane for Baron Steelers. Almost the third one here in the bot lane, as Deadly Ghost and Ferragosto are both dead. So it's a 4v3 as Rosh just takes a big bite out of that tower. Maybe even looking for a dive. He gets taunted up under the tower though. Daddy Cliff will take a bit of damage, but Rosh will be able to live through that tower, and it will be the third inhibitor going over to Baron Steelers. Triple inhib means that for this next Drake, it's going to be such a difficult contest for Celestial Vacuity.
Yeah, I think I need to get a paracetamol for Pharah after he hit his head into that wall. Astral flies right into the wall, canceling in it, giving us a death sentence. They probably got a headache after that one. It's so unfortunate because the fight looked so good. We got the Aesol reset, we fly away, we got the slows, and then bonk into a wall.
Yeah, that's not the best outcome. It very much has to be said. It looked like it was going very well, like you said, the first kill going over to that Aesol, and then he just failed the flight, and it all fell apart from there.
Yeah, because Aesol right now is your strongest member. He's the public enemy #1 when it comes to Baron Stealer, so he needs to be taken down. And we really need vision control because this Morgana is just going to do this the entire game now.
Yeah, Morgana straight up in there, and Deadly Ghost trying to run away. Ferragosto's over the wall, uses the falling star, doesn't connect onto anyone, but it will send the other 2 members of Baron Steelers away. As the Gato looking for a flank, Gaming Lord flashes over, hits the Cosmic Binding, and there is the Soul Shackles. Deadly Ghost able to get away with the Paranoia, and Nagato goes down. A nice tidal wave, but it only lands onto Rosh. Mecha trying to get away now, as down goes Cliff. It's a 1-for-1. In goes the Astral Flight from Ferragosto. Mecha trying to get away with the Rift Walk. We'll go back in to try and trade it down, but boom, pop goes that Kassadin. But now these Nexus turrets are being focused down by Frony. He gets fleed away, but he finds 1 kill with the ultimate. He's able to shift away. Deadly Ghost goes down 2. So do the Nexus turrets, and so do the Nexus. Ferragosto's on the wrong side of the map to defend, and Baron Steelers take game 1.
That was a juicy banana on the on the Nami in the last fight. Because that just disables the healing for the Nocturne, and then you can just auto him down, win it, and end the game. Beautiful execution from the side of Baron Steelers. When they got a good lead, when they got the inhibitors, they played it well on the end. It was a rough start. Normally, you don't see these kind of long games, almost 40 minutes. But yeah, we do have an Aesol, we do have a Kassadin, so kind of expected to go this long, no?
Yeah, very much.
These damage graphs.
Yeah, Ferragosto with so much damage. That is very much what we expected. That's the 17, 7, and 10 Aurelion Soul. And the damage closest match on the enemy team is Frony on the Ezreal, who also had a significant share of Baron Steelers kills. So both of these carries trying to duke it out, but it turns out it will be the Ezreal taking the win in game 1.
Yeah. Nocturne did less damage than or Nocturne, what am I saying? Kassadin did less damage than I expected. To be fair, he did just AFK farm for a lot of the game, so kind of explains it. But still,
Yeah.
he
By
burst
the
damage to
time
the end of the game is just insane.
he was pretty behind by the time he managed to hit that level 16. So Ferragosta was the stronger, very much the stronger of the mid laners. But in the end, it did not matter because Brony on the Ezreal was able to absolutely dominate and pop off inside of that last fight and win them the game.
You know what I really want to just see from a Kassadin in the games I see him in. Every time I see him go Fleetfoot or Conquer, just go Electrocute, Rush Malignance, and play. Play early. Kassa's level 6 is not that bad. Just play. Because
Yeah, I
what I
mean,
just
it
described
catches
is how
people
they
off
play it in
guard.
high elo. It's also how they play him in high elo. Because in higher elo,
Mm.
it's like, okay, his level 6 actually he gets this very mobile ult. With Malignance, he gets this very short cooldown on it early on and gives him great damage still. So it's something that I just want to see, but never happens. And I'm
It makes those trades, especially against like the range champion or the ASOL, a lot better because obviously, if you're going Conqueror, you kind of have to just go in and keep fighting because you don't have the burst. And then when you run away, the exit trade is so strong from the ASOL. But, if you keep fighting, you just die and ASOL can just fly away. So Electrocute makes so much sense to just go in, get a bit of burst damage, a good trade, and then just jump away and not just be on the back foot for that matchup.
yeah, he still won the game. He still played out the later fights fine. His Conquer really helped in the later fights, but Kassadin is classified as an assassin, not as a bruiser, and a lot of people are playing him like this bruiser. I just want to see the real assassin in him come through, right?
Mm. Yeah, I think it's a lot of it comes, the Rod of Ages. It is an item that you associate with Kassadin. It makes a lot of sense, giving him that extra level to get to level 16 faster, where he spikes, or level 11, where he's going to spike. So Rod of Ages makes a lot of sense on Kassadin, and it obviously gives you that health and that more bruisery pattern. But with the Malignance, like you said, the burst is it's not ignorable at all. And you can just go in and blow up the backline, especially into a squishier composition, like we saw being run from Vacuity, where it was really just that Shen who was the tanky sort of individual there. You can just look to assassinate one of those backline members.
Yeah, as we will be heading shortly into game 2, there's a slight break going on for the players. Do we want to go into a break ourselves as well? Get some drink?
Yeah, okay, let's go into a break, grab something to drink, and we will be back as soon as the draft for game 2 is ready. Okay, welcome back to game 2 of Celestial Vacuity versus Baron Steelers. We are just about ready to get into the draft, and it does in fact appear that Vacuity have selected for themselves to be on red side this game. So a nice side selection swap. It will be last pick and counter pick for Vacuity. Most likely going to be giving that one over to Cliff to try and get a nice counter pick for that top lane matchup. But we will see as we are now straight into the draft.
Yeah, I'm not really expecting any changes when it comes to bans, since we didn't necessarily ban anything special away that just relied on the R3 or something like that. We just did general bans against stuff they play. So I don't think a lot of ban changes will happen. I am very
so far, very similar.
Yeah, true. I'm very interested to see how both teams will react on the different sides they're on.
That is a very good point, because blue side does give you that, you know, if there is a pick that you are very much looking forward to, and, you know, I think blue side is a lot less important at this level, whereas you see a lot of teams in that, like, upper leagues, you know, LCK and stuff like that, opting for that blue side because, you know, everyone can really play anything. And then when there's a champion that's really strong, like the Vi or the Gwen or the Kalista or the Varus, when one of those champions is open and you just get your hands on it, so it forces the enemy to kind of ban it out, and then you always get that strong pick first. Blue side a lot less valuable here, whereas red side always gives you that counter pick. You can always give your top laner a counter pick, or if you want to look to draft a possible, I don't know, a Master Yi, for example, you can very much cater it to your opponent's composition when you are able to pick last. So I imagine some different strategies will be coming out from both of these teams. Possibly it will be, yeah, Nocturne, but this time for the side of Baron Steelers. It's locked in, so it will be the blue side first pick Nocturne again. Seems like this is a strong pick that both of these teams are looking to get their hands on.
We did see some changes in the bans coming from Baron Steelers side, as Jarvan is being picked up by Celestial. Last game we saw Malphite Maokai bans, now we see Mundo and Rumble. That means Cliff's signature Maokai top is open. It's a champion very, very strong into certain melee matchup. So maybe we'll see an angle this game, as it works very well with the MF4 lockdown.
Yeah, Maokai it's similar to like a Gragas in a way, where it's so hard to trade with a Maokai if the Maokai doesn't want to trade with you. That Bramble Smash can just completely negate any and all trades that you might want to go for, and the Sap Magic is able to just keep him very well sustained in a lane. So it's if you are looking for a lane that you can just scale through and play for a late game inside of a team fight, especially with that lockdown of the ultimate, like you mentioned with the Misfortune, it's very strong. It's going to be a Shen this time for Rosh, most likely. Yeah, it's going to be a possible support flex, I would imagine, but it's most likely going to be going towards Rosh in the top lane.
Most likely. But we do see Smolder being picked up, so we're going for this super heavy scaling comp again, which is going to be rough against this Misfortune J4, who are great during mid game. We see a Malphite really just combos so incredibly well with these two. But we
the Jarvan and Malphite Misfortune.
We do know their theme right now, so if we just counter pick on the B4, B5s, it's going to be harder for them to execute, because they're really reliant on these big team fights. We got Shen already, so we got something in side lane. What just happens if we pick another side laner? If we pick something like, I don't know if we play it right, pick an Akali, a LeBlanc, an Ahri, something that's safe in the side lane, and it's like fine with side lane.
Yeah, I'd champion like Ahri or something along those lines makes a lot of sense. And then you've got very strong pick potential with the Nocturne, and with that Shen, you can send a lot of numbers to a side lane and try and look for a pick. So it does make a lot of sense, and it is also possible that it's a Smolder mid, but it's likely to be that ADC. I mean, like you mentioned, they have got 3 ADC players, so it's possible that they would want to look to play an ADC inside of a role that isn't the bot lane. So we might see that coming forward, but Smolder has got increased substantially in priority for the bot lane. So it's very possible that it's also going there as we see the Renata to pair with this Misfortune.
Oh, it's even more locked down. We're going way more towards this team fight comp, and Brown being picked here, makes a lot of sense. Make sure that your Smolder can be safe in the mid lane when in these later stages of the game, that he doesn't just easily get dived on. And then we pick a Mel, a champion that has a lot of struggle in side lane, since she's really immobile. It's going to be very dangerous for the side of Baron Steelers here if I'm looking at team comps.
It will be the Syndra to answer that Mel, though. I'm not sure about the matchup because I know Mel is a strong early laning champion. She's very strong inside of the early game, but like you said, in the side lanes, she struggles a bit more. Whereas Syndra, if she can get those splinters, she's going to be stronger in the late game. But there's a lot of answers from the side of Baron Steelers for a lot of the setup and the combo that Celestial want to look for. Right, the Misfortune ultimate, the bullet time can be countered by the Unstoppable from the Braum or the rebuttal from the Mel. There's a lot of defensive tools on the side of Baron Steelers here to try and stop Celestial from doing what they want to be doing.
Yeah, true, but something that's I struggle with a bit is we pick Nocturne, pick an aggressive jungler, wants to dive and stuff, and then afterwards we go full defense. We got Shen, we got Mel, we got Braum. We just want to stay back, keep the Smolder safe, and then we have Nocturne just sitting there like, I want to go in, but I kind of can't because my team can't fall.
Yeah, that Nocturne, if he goes in, he's just going to get shredded. There's really nothing that the Nocturne can find unless it's a counterplay. Like, if the rest of his team gets engaged upon, the Nocturne can counter, but that's really not what Celestial want to be doing particularly, right? They don't really want to be looking to try and jump on to Baron Steelers because they have the Shen, they have the Nocturne, they've got a lot of disengage, the Mel and the Braum. It's very hard for Celestial to do that already, so the Nocturne doesn't really have that much of a purpose in this game.
Yeah, and also one of the things, right, Mel's is very strong early game champion, like you mentioned, really good lane bullying, she's good range as well. Syndra is one of the champions I believe that has a favorable matchup into, mainly because if Mel gets stunned, she doesn't really have enough time for to block Syndra's ultimate, and Syndra's main damage, which is her Q, doesn't really get reflected either. So it's a bit rough for like the side of Mel.
Yeah, like you very much can just poke. Like it's the Q versus the Q. The Syndra Q can't be blocked. It's not a projectile. Whereas the E, I believe the wave will also stun. So the wave isn't a projectile, but the orbs might be. So I think if I am not incorrect, you can still stun the Mel through the rebuttal if you hit the E with the actual wave of the E. I'm not entirely sure about that though. I could be wrong, but that would mean that Syndra is very good into Mel.
If it's coded like Yasuo, Windwall, and Samira W, right? The interesting mechanic with Syndra versus those two is the balls don't get deleted. They just stop. They just fall on the ground right before the Windwall. It's not like they get deleted. So I don't really think that Mel reflects it because other champions cannot delete it. So that's why I'm a bit iffy. It's something that I haven't seen often.
Yeah, I actually do not know how that interaction works. I mean, that's a very good point. But I'm sure we'll probably see it at least at one point during this game.
We'll learn something new today.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we most certainly will. I'm looking at the wiki, and like you mentioned, the portion of the E that hits into like a wind wall will be stopped. So that's going to be the same thing as the Mel W, but the balls will just stop. So that is very much probably what's going to happen with the Mel matchup. And it is definitely very Syndra favored, which is bad for Mel because she very much wants to win early. Otherwise, she's not very useful in the late game.
She's an incredibly gold-hungry champion, um, which really needs to build up this lead and have a consistent early game. And even the thing as well is, right, she has long cooldowns. So after she's traded, Syndra can just walk up more aggressively. Syndra cooldowns are way lower. And Syndra has this mana refund mechanic on her passive. Every time she gets some splinters, she just gets some mana back. Yeah. So I'm curious to see how this rolls out.
Yeah, I mean, at least Nagato can try and attempt to find something on the mid lane because, Syndra doesn't have a lot of safety from a Nocturne gank because the spell, if you could time that spell shield with the scatter, you can pretty much just stick on the Syndra. So hopefully for the side of Baron Steelers, they can get some good ganks off towards the mid lane as they're looking for an invade. Pigea is completely behind them, but they're trying to just waltz through this mid lane and maybe find and catch someone out. They won't be able to do so.
Well, I like how you say it with the Nocturne, right? There's actually a mechanic which you can stun Nocturne through the W shield, where you E first and then you Q. So the E pokes the shield, but then the Q popping down still launches the ball, still stunned.
But
So
is it not?
very
Is it? That's an interesting. Yeah, I know that happens a lot. Like same thing with Jarvan, right? If you EQ, it's almost impossible to spell shield it because the Q coming down, like the instance of damage from the Q, procs the shield, and then you drag yourself through. So you have to time it incredibly well. But is that not the same thing with the Syndra, or is it completely undodgeable?
I mean, it's very hard for the Syndra to do the combo correctly, right? So we're gonna see later in this game how it works precisely. One of the things that I'm also curious about to see is if Mel does the standard solo Q max, which I believe personally is worse because Q has such a high mana cost when you max it, or if she goes the E max, which a lot of pro players are doing on Mel.
Emax is, I think the root duration, the stun duration does increase with the levels, right? So
Yes.
It is a sensible choice where, because a lot of the damage from Mel is, there's a lot of poke on the Q, but you've still got like a lot of damage coming from Blackfire and your items and stuff like that, and as well as the passive. So Emax probably wouldn't make you lose as much damage as, if you were maxing E on a Xerath or something. You would never do that.
Yeah, exactly. Because also with Emax, you gain like I think it's 60 base damage increase every time you put a level in it. Like it's a ridiculous amount. And Nemesis is like a big Emax fanatic when it comes to Mel.
I have seen Nemesis play a lot of Mel as the rebuttal, like you said, does not throw the Q back, but it does still immune you from all of its damage. So you will have a little bit of safety there. But this game so far, a lot less scrappy than the early game of the last time. Logically, you wouldn't expect to see a lot of scrapping from a Smolder, nowhere near as much as you would from the Ezreal. So a lot of this makes sense. No early bot lane skirmishing or fighting or trading or killing. Not as much as like that we saw in the last game.
Smolder just wants to scale up, chill. MF wants to trade early. That's why we also see Jarvan pathing towards this bot side, because he just wants to get this MF as far ahead as possible. One of the weird things that I'm seeing though is we pick this MF in phase 1. They don't pick Braum. Why are we leaving Braum open?
Oh yeah, and Mecha trying to use the rebuttal to get away, but will go down, giving first blood over to Deadly Ghost. A nice gank in the mid as Mecha, the first time that they have walked up, gets immediately punished by Deadly Ghost.
One of the main things we saw there about the Mel as well in this matchup if you're not deflecting it, you're still getting affected by every side effect of a spell, except for like only the damage doesn't apply, right? So you still get slowed by the force of will. You still get stunned by Scatter the Weak.
Yeah, some concussive blows coming out in the bot lane, and somehow this Smolder's looking pretty good. He gets exhausted. Gaming Lord flashes forward, tries to connect the Winter's Bite, but gets handshook straight under the turret, and it will be the first kill from this bot lane going over to Ikuya. They do have to burn both of their summoners, but they will be alive to tell the tale. Gaming Lord will not have such luxury, as Pikaia trying to make it rain to try and find a little bit of damage, but ultimately it will just be that one kill. Nagato trying to look for a gank, possibly in the bot lane, and it won't be warded just yet. There is no ward there. As he goes in, gets handshook away. He does burn the flash. We didn't quite see it, but the flash does go on cooldown.
Yeah,
So
he just
an
flashed
unsuccessful
in.
gank.
He flashed in saying like "dap me up" and just went after the handshake. It's
Yeah.
I also find it very interesting how we're trying to all in this MF. Like I understand MF is low here, but we're also low, and she has a Granada with a ability called Bailout, which is eh. We're going really aggressive into a bailout that's still available.
Yeah, I mean, the attitude there does stop the recall coming out, which is nice. And it does mean that Throne is able to crash the wave and deny quite a bit of it from Akuya, but he's not able to push that fast. You know, the wave does take a little bit there to get under the turret. So it will be a good advantage in the wave state, though, for this Smolder, which is nice considering what the rest of this game is looking like. A flash forward Solar Snare doesn't connect the route because Ferragosto flashes themselves. So a nice gank will get the flash out of the Syndra, but for the flash of your mid laner, as a Solar Snare this time will root up Deadly Ghost, who is forced to burn the flash, but the concussive blows will stir him up. He gets fleed, and he will get bailed out, but he will not come back to life, as there's just too much damage from Baron Steelers and not enough on the other side. As Mecha's looking for another kill, doesn't have the Golden Eclipse though, so
yeah,
we'll just about not be able to find Ferragosto. Yeah, I saw that earlier on. It did, you know, it hit a couple of minions or whatever.
Yeah, she cleared minions, but she also typed in chat lol right after. So I think it's always a fat thing.
Most likely, as a Paranoia in the bot lane forces the flash out of the one who had it left, that being Pikaia. Does have to flash away, but will get to safety as Akuya trading back nicely. Frony forced to flash away. Will he call his mother, as he has just hit level 6, but doesn't seem to have leveled it? Maybe the wrong ability, never mind. He's able to use it now as Rosh uses the Stand United, comes into the bot lane. A really good bait to pick up the Feet of Warfare. A nice 2 kills once again in the bot lane, and Akuya not, you know, making the most out of this lead. Will now be substantially behind Frony in the bot lane.
Yeah, a bit aggressive play, and then it's just like, mother, this pirate girl is trying to kill me. Just helps out. Ooh, that stun on Mecha though is kind of nasty. You know, we have Force of Will active here. We can look for something. No.
It will just be the Drake going over to Baron Steelers. Ferragosto isn't able to find anything. Gaming Lord maybe walking over to try and help his mid laner at least do something, but no, we'll just take a recall. TP not available for Mecha, which does mean that this prio is very nice for Ferragosto, especially with no one coming to help Mecha shove out the wave. It does mean that Mecha will be getting quite bullied under this tower and probably missing out on a few minions, but Mecha is still up 20 CS on Ferragosto in the mid lane.
Yeah, Syndra finally deciding to put down one of her 2 wards that was just sitting in her inventory. She was so vulnerable, not having any vision around herself. 2 wards in her inventory. It's just one gank could have been her death really there.
Yeah. It will be also Frony going for the less popular, you know, the older build that we used to see on Smolder with the Triforce, instead of, you know, the old Triforce into Shojin sort of build. Instead of the much more common Essence Reaver build, which you see nowadays. It just gives you a lot of damage, a lot of mana, so you can sustain through the lane. But it will be the Triforce instead coming out of this Smolder.
I've seen this champion build so many different items, I just don't know anymore. I've seen it build Hubris first.
That is in fact more popular than the Triforces nowadays. Hubris is, I mean,
I don't know, yeah,
it's
available
interesting,
here.
but yeah, it possible gank coming in from the bot lane, but Flash just about coming back up on Ikuya, and the exhaust is available, but it's looking like a lane gank is a possibility as Nagato's walking up here for only trying to go in, as maybe trying to look for a bait here to make them think that they win it. There's the hostile takeover. The mum is called as a nice bullet time will find a kill before Nagato even presses the paranoia button. He's going in now as the concussive blows will root up Pekea, who will go down even in spite of the bailout, but that opens up a gank in the top lane angle as Deadly Ghost flies in with the flag and drag and takes down Rosh. An interesting bait coming out of this bot lane from Baron Steelers, but
Can you
too
call
late
it
on
a
the
bait?
trigger.
Can you call it a bait when we use Smolder E aggressive, then don't get a hit on Brown passive, and then just get bullet times on the Smolder?
Yeah, that
Is that
was
still really a bait, or is that just us playing a bit special?
the bait, an int, whatever you want to call it, as Nagato will get handshook away, forced to flash, but he's flashing in the wrong direction. The double tap, bang. Ikuya picks up another kill and is able to get a little bit further back into this game after a few questionable plays. Deadly Ghost looking for a less questionable play in the mid lane as Mecha uses the golden eclipse. Deadly Ghost flashes away but still gets followed by the tower shot. It will be a 1-for-1 in the mid lane for jungler, but Ferragosto will be able to shove in the wave. Mecha TPing back in about 15 seconds will lose a few minions nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm actually very surprised to see a Sundered Sky first item from this Jarvan. I would have really expected the Eclipse to come out because he would have gained so much. Is that a Yuntal Nocturne?
It does appear to be a Yuntal Nocturne. It does in fact appear to be a Yuntal Nocturne.
Okay, I got a bit distracted there. So
I think it's not that bad of an item in this game because there's not really many dashes on the side of Celestial. Whereas you want that Stride Breaker and or the Hex Plate when Varagos, they're just barely living. But you want those sticking power items when there's a lot of dashes and you're able to get away from the Nocturne. Whereas the Yuntao, Yuntal's a really strong item. It just doesn't it's not usually built on Nocturne because you need the sticking power that the other items give. Whereas here, perhaps it's a little bit less valuable than it would usually be.
can we not just do the spear shot thing and rush?
Please, nobody build. No. If I see Spear Shot's Nocturne build, electrocute Axiomark into. Then he builds the Stride Breaker for some reason, and then he builds Bruiser after he's gone Axiomark. If I see that, I'm leaving. I'm leaving if I see Spear Shot Nocturne build.
It works, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, it works because he's challenger.
Well.
I think Yuntal's probably better than whatever the hell Spear Shot's been building. That is an insult to my eyes whenever I see that.
Oh yeah, it's a bit special. Oh
yeah, a nice under the tower. Rosh trying to go maybe get into another proxy position will be dissuaded at least a little bit thanks to that unstoppable force as Ferragosto trying to get out of a bad trade in the mid lane. We saw some ganks possibly being postured from both junglers in the bot lane, and Gaming Lord very far out of position will get knocked up by the flag and drag, forced to flash away, but there's a cataclysm onto two. A nice hostile takeover will find both of them as well. Mother is called. Deadly Ghost trying to bail himself out, but he misses the flag and drag. Frony will be able to live, and that will mean that Deadly Ghost will die. Mecha misses the Radiant Volley. The Solar Snare goes wide, but down comes the Golden Eclipse, picking up the kill. So it will be a 2-for-1 somehow. I'm not entirely sure how.
Oh no, 2-for-2.
Yeah, or a 2-for-2 actually. It was a 2-for-2. I did miss. Yeah, 2-for-2. But somehow they managed to get equal trade inside of that, which is very, very, not what I expected at least. Let's just say that.
Yeah. But what do you think about the Sundered Sky coming out from J4 here? Because that was what I was talking about until I saw Yuntal. So,
Yeah.
because I thought Eclipse would have been really good here, no, with how many squishies. Like we have the Mel,
Yeah.
who's easily gankable. We have the Smolder. We need to burst down as fast as we can.
I
Apparently,
think,
Nocturne, squishy champ
yeah,
now.
I think Sundered Sky is probably like the more typical build, but it's going to be a lot harder to proc with the, you know, a lot of, in they fly, but as we're talking about it, a nice solar snare, locking up Deadly Ghost, and yeah, like I said, he's not really able to proc that Sundered Sky. I mean, he may have been jumped on by pretty much everybody, so it does make sense, but the Sundered Sky not doing too much there. But like it makes sense into the melee champions that you have coming out from Baron Stealers, but you know, you can't proc it through that shroud from the Shen, so it is a difficult decision to make.
Wait, did I just see how many stacks does Smolder already have? Smolder's already at 133 stacks. Isn't that quite fast?
I mean, it's I think on the like higher end you get about 225 by around about minute 20 or to minute 25, but you know, you get most of the stacks towards the end, so I think 133 is a reasonable amount of stacks to have at this moment in time, but we'll see when Frony ticks over to those 225. I think though that's probably typical to see from the Smolder, although I don't play Smolder, as Cliff goes in with a nice unstoppable force. Deadly Ghost also making his way to the top lane as the Scatter the Weak lands. Ferragosto picks up the kill on the top laner of Baron Steelers.
A bounce house happening in this top lane while both mid laners have abandoned their wave to make it play.
Yeah, Deadly Ghost goes in, doesn't use the Cataclysm, but Nagato's here, will force the flash at a Deadly Ghost, but he's still on the chase. Cliffs around the corner, but doesn't have the unstoppable force. Nagato going way too deep and gets blown to smithereens. And that's another kill for Vacuity, which won't turn into the Herald just yet, but it is a free kill. Questionable play from Baron Steelers.
In my mind, I just went, where did this Nocturne go? And then I realized he doesn't have Bruiser item.
Yeah, I think Yundao Nocturne isn't the tankiest of builds. Still probably tankier than Electrocute Axiom Arc Nocturne, but that might just be my biases showing.
Nah, it's kind of true. I think we saw the interaction we were talking about earlier as well, where Syndra presses ult and Mel presses W. It just doesn't reflect anything. It just puts them on the ground.
Huh. Wait, the ult or the W? Wait, does it not reflect the ult either?
I don't think it reflects the ult.
Huh. I mean, I suppose that makes sense as Frony's looking for something, but he gets exhausted and he has to try and run away. Gaming Lord's trying to save his ADC. Mother is called. The bullet time will just barely not finish off the kill, as Frony is in fact level 11, so has a little bit of extra health and resistances. We'll be able to walk that one off.
Yeah, the barrier really coming in clutch there. Even though I don't think even if we chased it, we wouldn't have killed because Center United is still available. Glacial Prison barely missing.
I'm not sure how that missed as Mecha's dropping incredibly low, but the Stand United will keep him alive, even if not necessary. It is a nice safety net. They will find a pick in the mid lane as Rosh looks to find the taunt onto Deadly Ghost. It will land, but the Flag and Drag will get him to safety. They will be able to shove in this wave and get a little bit of damage onto this tower, but it will probably most likely be Daddy Cliff picking up the first tower here in the top lane, thanks to that Stand United being used in the mid lane. Rosh, even with that empowered Blast Cone, will not be able to get there in time. Nagato going even further in. Deadly Ghost will be able to get out, but if he wasn't able to, I think we were about to see the power of the Yuntal Nocturne.
Yeah, definitely. As we see another blue buff ice happening with a Renata defending it, I don't think she will be able to
from the mid
lane.
Ferragosto and Mecha both making their way over. The handshake brings Nagato deeper into enemy lines, but the rest of the blue team is here. A nice hostile takeover to try and get them both to safety as Mother comes in, does absolutely nothing. And it will be no kills on either of these sides. Oh, a Solar Snare does land though, as Mecha does have the Golden Eclipse, doesn't want to use it just yet. And Pikea will live as these top laners are whacking each other. Rosh forced to burn the flash away. but no one will go down. These tanky boys are slapping each other with wet fish.
To be honest, I don't think that the Golden Eclipse would have killed there. Because we didn't see the red
Yeah.
icon. The hard part about like Mel, right, is with how's the item called? Shadow Flame and the Coup de Grace rune, it's really hard to actually know when it kills. Because it doesn't tell you that those runes are gonna make your ult kill. It only looks at the passive stacks.
Yeah, I think... Oh, a nice TP in the bot lane. Daddy Cliff goes immediately in with the Unstoppable Force. A flash from Gaming Lord to try and use the stand behind me, which will interrupt the bullet time. A really nice Glacial Fissure as the TP is now coming in from Rosh to try and turn this one around. He's got a taunt on the ready, and there's the Paranoia. Will follow Akuya as they dive deep underneath the enemy turret. It's looking like a 1-for-1, but the bailout makes it a 1-for-0. Mum comes in again, but it's not enough this time. And now Celestial are looking to turn it. Gaming Lord dropping incredibly low. Daddy Cliff able to just about live as Deadly Ghost smacks down onto Gaming Lord with a nice spear, and Rosh in the middle of 1v3 trying to find at least one kill onto Daddy Cliff, but won't be able to do so. It's a 4-for-2 in fact, as Daddy Cliff manages to stay alive.
Yeah.
Oh,
in the
TP again.
Oh, again? Round
Mecha is
2.
trying to make sure they can't take this Drake. They are trying to make sure they can get onto Soul Point. Deadly Ghost obviously has the smite, knocks up Mecha there, who is trying to get away, but we will flash over the wall. Solar Snare lands, and there's the Radiant Volley. Now doesn't have access to the Golden Eclipse though, so Deadly Ghost will be able to live, but it buys enough time for Nagato to make his way over to try and steal this one. Can Baron Stealers add Dragon Stealers to their resume? They cannot. In fact, as it goes over to Deadly Ghost, and Nagato goes down without securing anything for his team.
Yeah. That bailout in that first fight onto the MF was really, really clutch there, because MF's little extra damage she could have done before she got eliminated by this mother of a dragon actually did so much damage before she died still. So disgusting.
It was slightly problematic. Yeah, the bailout was so unbelievably strong, and it saved Ikuya. Initially was, dead, and then just came back to life and put so much damage back in, and that was definitely the reason they won that fight.
Yeah, I think Renata is this champion, which is very hard to pin down what she does, and then you look at the W and it's like, it's just a weird little enchanter that has great team fighting for some reason.
Yeah, she is incredibly good if you can play her well. As a possible angle is being tried to find on Daddy Cliff. He does have the Unstoppable Force, but he gets rooted up and then taunted, so he can't go anywhere. He is able to get over the wall though, as Deadly Ghost comes out of the Herald, but just dives the tower. Cataclysm comes out, but they're able to try and turn this one around. This time, the bailout will save Deadly Ghost for a second. He will go down though, but so will both of the members of the bot lane of Baron Stealers. A beautiful dive, as the Unstoppable is not able to stop all of the damage coming out, and a bullet time is really nice there. I mean, there was a really, really good wombo combo from the side of Celestial Vacuity.
Yeah, the Baron Stealers really thought that the combo would come out way earlier, because they used Unbreakable and Glacial Fissure so early in that fight, and bullet time just being saved up and used very late. Actually, that Mel is taking a huge chunk here.
Yeah, Mecha very low.
Champion looks very fun.
Tell me about it.
What is Nocturne building?
I was just about to say the exact same thing. I saw the pickaxe and the phage. I am very intrigued to see what is the next item on this list for the Nocturne. It's something bruisery, but what exactly?
It's gonna be a Black Cleaver?
Black Cleaver does make a little bit of sense here. So I think, all of the items of the Black Cleaver are acquired. I think the other item that has those components might be a Sterax. Yeah, it is Black Cleaver. I don't think Sterax makes a lot of sense, as Frony's now in a 1v2, but it will be made a 2v2 by Nagato going in with the Paranoia, and here comes the rest of the team. A nice hostile takeover, tries to get them away. Achu just about doesn't land, but Frony will be able to throw a little bit of snot, or whatever the hell that is, some super scorcher breath, and pick up the kill onto Pikea, which will allow them to try and start this Atacon here, but Gaming Law is being chunked out very, very hard by it. As Deadly Ghost waiting in the wings to try and steal it. The resistances, yeah, it's about 50 resistances worth. As 2 TBs come in, Daddy Cliff goes in, he finds one with the Unstoppable Force. Nagato forced to flash away. Deadly Ghost finds one with the Cataclysm, maybe not even necessary, as Rosh trying to run away. Solar Snare roots up 2 of them, and so much damage from Frony. There is the Golden Eclipse. It finds a trade kill back, but down goes the Atacon solo. Rosh gets in there. Smite will secure the Atacon from Deadly Ghost, but he will die as a result. And a few members die here on both teams, but most importantly, the Atacon will be secured by Celestial Vacuity.
I think that fight, Celestial thought they were really, really winning that fight. Oh, we get 2 kills. They don't have any one of ours. We're gonna win this fight. But wait, it's only Nocturne and Browmore that enemy carries are still alive, and now they finish us off. Because now we are the ones getting shredded by this Atacon. I think Atacon is just early, it's just bait. It's always one team takes it, gets a resistance shredded, and it just dies. Just like this Mel is dying right now.
Speaking of dying, exactly. Mecha didn't even need the resistance shred to kill that one. You just need 3 members and a nice mid gank.
Yeah, it's going. I mean, if I'm looking at this game right now, it is definitely still very favorable for Celestial. Yes, Smolder is the strong champion, but we have enough things to catch him out as Paranoia comes out.
Yeah, Paranoia will be just handshaken away quite nicely there. It's an ultimate for single ability, a single E. So, or Q, I don't know what it is, but it is the handshake as there now spawns the Drake as another handshake. We'll try and get a bit of trade damage. Ferragosto trying to run away now, but he will be slowed up by the Achu. The Braum wall will stop the hostile takeover, but they will dodge away. Deadly Ghost going in. He will land a Cataclysm, but there's no follow-up. Deadly Ghost forced to flash away. Cliff is here now. He finds 2 with the Unstoppable Force. Deadly Ghost goes down. He's bailed out, but he's not able to find the kill. He's walking the wrong way to get back into the fight. And now the rest of them are trying to find this fight. Pikea dropping incredibly low. Cliff walking up, but he doesn't have any damage. The bullet time will find Nagato. It's 1 kill traded back by Celestial, but they will lose 3 members and almost guaranteed to lose the Drake. Even without the jungler available on the side of Baron Steelers, they're still going to look for this anyway.
I think it's so unfortunate because I saw the little animation of Syndra just reaching a splinter like threshold, getting that maximum amount of splinters for the extra bonus AP, and she just gets caught instantly. It's so sad. But also during this fight, MF was walking a lot of circles, got like 3 auto attacks out, and ults a single person. There was definitely a bit of lacking of communication and teamwork. We're locking this big Wombo combo team comp. Can we do the Wombo combo at least?
Yeah, the Wombo combo was a little bit disjointed. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Deadly Ghost thought he had to try and do something because he was dead. But I think if you just go the other way, you are not dead and you probably live. And then you can at least, well, not lose all of your members inside of a fight as Frony walks up way too far. You're a Smolder, my friend. You are not meant to be split pushing this deep. Daddy Cliff finds the ultimate and will find the kill onto this poor little baby Smolder.
Yeah, your mother ain't saving you from that one, son. It's just that Smolder is down now, so we have this incredibly good angle. If we get this Mel, then the enemy just doesn't have any damage left except this Yuntal Nocturne.
Yeah, the Yuntal Nocturne seems to be doing a little bit of damage. He will find 1 kill, but he won't be able to find Ferragosto because he's locked up inside of a cage. And now Gaming Lord will go down as well. And now there's only Rosh left, which means that Baron is at least an angle for Celestial. I doubt very much that Rosh is going to be able to steal this one. Even with the accolade of Baron Stealers being tied to your name, I don't think you're stealing this as a Shen. And Celestial know that. They're just going to start this Baron here, and they're going to cut through it pretty swiftly.
Yeah, they should be able to get it with plenty of time still remaining, so they can even take safe bases. They're slowing down a bit. Still, they have enough time for this. Why are they...
oh yeah, they're waiting for Akuya to respawn so that they can give it over.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Not very scary since none of the enemies are even close by.
Alive.
Yeah. The only thing that I'm really worried about right now is that Smolder, like, yeah, he has his stacks, but if he keeps playing like this, even now, he's up very, very far. He has no team around him. If Jarvan decided, I want him dead right now, he was dead.
Yeah, he did just die to a Malphite. Nagato maybe looking for something on Cliff, but Cliff is very strong. The Black Cleaver does shred a bit of resistances, but not enough to stop him from getting away with the Unstoppable Force. And yeah, I think you're right. Celestial have found themselves in a very nice position, especially because Baron Steelers, they want to get this next Drake. They want to get Soul, but it's almost impossible for them to fight now after having lost their, like, any advantage they had. They lost a couple fights in a row. They got picked off on side. They got picked off on mid. They got picked off on mid again. And now it's a 5k gold lead for Celestial Vacuity. And the wallet diff alone means that these fights are going to very much be Celestial favored.
Yeah, not only the wallet diff, but look at his vision from the side of Celestial, just not spotting the Smolder though.
Yeah, they're looking to try and find picks of their own as Cliff jumps away with the Unstoppable Force, and Nagato flashes behind Ferragosto. There's a Stand United to try and bring Rosh in to fight away Deadly Ghost. Yuntal Nocturne does die. He dies. He dies very quickly, and Deadly Ghost will maybe even be able to kill Rosh with the power of Sundered Sky. A double kill for this jungler. He will find both of them, and a pick turns into 2 members dead for Baron Steelers.
That was such a nail biter because I was like, okay, Cataclysm coming out, easy double kill, right? And I see Fear, and I health bar going down and down and down, and it just down completely now because we overextend. It's fine. We don't need a jungler. Who needs a jungler at Drake coming up in 50 seconds?
No, I mean, they are, like we said, they're called Baron Steelers, not Drake Steelers. So what is the point of even sending your jungler to Drake? What are they going to do? Steal it? No, they can't. They're Baron Steelers. So Deadly Ghost says, I don't need to be alive for this Drake. I'm going to hit this tower a couple of times and trade my shutdown for it. So I hope it was worth.
I certainly hope so. But also, one of the things right there is we just didn't have enough damage on this Jarvan to burst him down quick enough. So he just gets the Cataclysm, gets the heal from Sundered Sky, and he just kills you. Even if you're with 2 people. Oh, Renata being called out.
Okay, walking a bit too far. Nagato has some movement speed. We'll be able to gap close a little bit, but we'll be handshook away quite swiftly. As they're looking for another catch, Gaming Lord sitting in the bush, once again looking for a bait, but he's just way too late. The ultimate comes out 5 minutes too late, and Nagato just goes down. Maybe he was checking TikTok or something, but yeah, now it's Baron Steelers who are Sans jungler, and the Drake will be started up. Deadly Ghost has come back, and we'll be getting this Drake for free and not giving away the soul to Baron Steelers.
Yeah, I don't think he was checking TikTok. I think he was checking his PayPal, getting paid to not be involved in that fight. He just let his Nocturne die. He watched him die.
He was, in fact, he was logging into the PayPal. Enemy team was like, "Hey, man, we've got some money for you. Check." And he was logging in. Deadly Ghost now walking into the enemy territory. Every single spell misses, but Rosh does not miss. And the wall will stop the hostile takeover from landing onto pretty much anyone, as pretty much everyone is tanky enough to sustain through a lot of this damage. But with the Unstoppable gone, the bullet time cuts through everyone. In flies Daddy Cliff. Mom comes down to try and deal a bit of damage, as does the Golden Eclipse, but Mecha falls. In goes Nagato to the backline, but he's not tanky at all. He goes down in trade. It's now a 3v2. Frony and Gaming Lord, the bot lane, trying to find something more, as Frony will flap over the wall. A nice Glacial Fissure knocking up Daddy Cliff, and down he goes. Frony just about living. The chickens trying to take him down, but this man will not die to camps. His name is not Doran. He will live through the chickens, and he will get away to safety.
The chickens are not the dangerous part. The Krogs, the Krogs are dangerous.
The Krogs are terrifying.
Oh, it's just, if we saw a prime example of why we do not fight a Smolder in a cramped space. Smolder is
Yeah,
public enemy number 1. We dive on Smolder and we don't use our bullet time first and then our Cataclysm. Because what happens then is we don't have follow-up on the Cataclysm.
Not so fast.
Yeah, you may be right there, especially with a lot of those. I mean, the hostile takeover just going straight into a door. It's not particularly easy to win the fight after that. And then with that Super Scorcher Breath, Swalder just does so much damage to absolutely everybody inside of that choke. And then Mum comes down and burns them all to the ground.
Smolder almost at 400 stacks right now. It's getting really, really dangerous with this burn as well. I think Smolder is even more of a random bullshit Go champion than Katarina at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he does just press all of the buttons and then kill you with his passive.
I mean,
And
item
400 stacks pretty big, but Ikuya has the GA but gets engaged on the mid lane. There's no one here to try and save him. Pikea's on the way, but it's still a 2v3, and Ikuya goes down even through the GA. They find both of those as the spell shield will negate the hostile takeover. Ferragosto trying to trade something back, but will not be able to do so. And that is just a very strong advantage. They find a kill onto Ikuya and through the GA. They get both of those right as this Baron is up. And now they're maybe looking to try and fight this as Mecha just takes the bot tower, has the TP, but down goes Gaming Lord. Immediately, Daddy Cliff goes in with the unstoppable force. Nagato not tanky enough to survive it. Rosh finds a two-man taunt, but Frony's putting all the damage down. He flaps out of the Cataclysm. Cliff and Ferragosto will take him down, though. Mecha TP's into the fight, tries to throw a couple Radiant volleys over the wall, but is just not in range. And down goes everyone except for Mecha on the side of Baron Stealers. And now it seems like the Baron angle will be for Celestial. Mecha stays for too long, tries to get the Golden Eclipse, will send Pikea into a bailout, but he will come straight back to life. And it's an ace for the side of Celestial, and they're going to pick up the Baron.
You know what I liked? You know what I really, really liked during that fight? Halfway through that fight, we realized, maybe we shouldn't hit Shen and actually hit Smolder. And the second we did that, we started winning the fight.
I mean, who would have thought when you focus down the 400 and however many stacks, 300 CS 12 kill Smolder, you end up winning the instead of the 1 and 6 Shen or the 4 and 12 Yuntal Nocturne.
We're just flaming this Nocturne so hard. Hey, it's still better than the spiritual build. So.
It is better. Okay. I do have to say that I would 100 times out of 10 rather see my Nocturne build this than Electrocute Axiom, whatever the hell.
Electrocute Axiom arc full bruiser.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dragon coming up shortly. We really want to contest this. Let's see if another ADC gets caught out on the lane being solo. It's already happened twice this game. Might as well happen a third time.
It has both of these teams now playing a little bit more respectful as only the solo laners are shoving out the side waves for the side of Baron Stealers. Mecha doesn't have the TP, so it will be Rosh up in the top lane. But the Drake is just going to be taken incredibly low. Yeah, down it goes. Chemcheck Drake going over to Celestial. They're evening it up 3-3. And now it's soul point for both of these teams. Nagato inside the enemy jungle again, but he's got his top laner here to hover him so that he doesn't just die. But this Baron wave in the mid lane, it's only being defended by this Braum at the moment. So down will go the inhibitor. And this Braum is pretty squishy when he doesn't have the door. Mum coming in from the side will just soften up that wave a little bit. But it is still a Baron empowered wave. So
we decided to trade a Dragon and a inhibitor for enemy Raptor.
Well, sometimes some KFC is all you can have in a trying time.
I guess like this, the pushing of the sideways I really liked because we're not going to be able to contest the Dragon right now. Just we push in sides. That's fine, but then keep your mid lane in check as well, because mid lane was in such a neutral position that after Drake, Celestial just shoves in the wave, gets the inhib, gets a lot of pressure on you right now, and I don't think you can catch this Malphite even if you want. You don't have damage with those two.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cliff will just be able to blast Cohen his way away. And even with the Cleaver Shred, it's not enough damage. And Cliff is barely even eats through his passive.
Not so fast.
As the Baron buff has fallen off. No, it hasn't. They were just not in range. I lied through my teeth. They will have this Baron wave in a 4v4. Mecha getting a good bit of damage off with the Radiant Volley. Pikaia forced to walk back a little bit. They won't be able to secure this tower just yet. But oh my god, Ferrogosta does so much damage. Down goes Mecha, executed by the passive. Deadly Ghost is going in. Realizes he's in way too deep and flashes over the wall. After, you know, a 1-for-1, he was like, maybe we can find a bit more. But yeah, a little bit too overzealous.
We saw it again. She pressed W, blocks almost every single orb the Syndra throws at her, and then the last one executes.
Yeah,
You just don't reflect any damage, which is ridiculous to me still. But I mean, I guess it works with Windfall like that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something to do with how the orbs work, right? Because, you know, if you could reflect the orbs, you know, you turn them into your own orbs, because the orbs are like an entity that you're throwing at someone as well as a projectile. It's like it's an interesting conundrum for Riot Games for sure. As once again, Daddy Cliff is just able to push out the wave. They really can't do anything about this guy at this moment in time. Even the Smolder is probably not strong enough to do anything. He's got an Edge of Night, a Trinity Force, a Shojin, a Manamune, and a Cyrildas. This guy just put everything in his shopping basket.
We're missing the Liandry's. If he went Liandry's, I think he would have been able to match the Malphite properly, because right now, only Mel can really do anything versus him, because he just has so much armor. Right now, he's sitting at a comfortable, what, 800 armor?
810 armor. That's a rather high number. That is for sure. As Pikaia caught out, gets jumped on by Nagato, but he will be handshaken away, and he does not have nearly enough sticking power to keep running down this Renata.
These games are going for so long. I haven't casted any game that has gone like this long. 41 minutes. We got a good catch here, bro.
Gaming Lord caught out, tries to flash, but gets popped by Akuya. And yeah, they're now missing a Braum, so it will be pretty hard to dodge any of these engages, as once again Daddy Cliff run down, but Pikeia's off to the side. Boom! A nice unstoppable force hits both of them, and there's the hostile takeover. The spell shield does not work, but Nagato will still live. Mecha trying to run away in the bot lane. Meanwhile, Deadly Ghost just has to press a Q, and down goes Mecha as Deadly Ghost jumps at him and throws his entire body. And down goes the inhibitor as well, as a nice scatter lands onto Rosh, but he is the tankiest member still on the side of Baron Stealers. But these waves are being pushed in pretty damn deep. Frony knocked up by the Flag and Drag. Cataclysm will finish him off. And now, with only 3 members, as soon as this Braum spawns up in a couple seconds, it's going to be pretty hard to defend against this. It's a 5v3, as Deadly Ghost is under the tower. In goes Nagato. He has to flash away from that engage, and will at least be able to live, but a beautiful scatter stunts up everybody. In goes Deadly Ghost, and down goes Nagato. Down goes the turret as well. Cliff flies in and finds the knockup. And it's looking like it's going to be game 2. This time it will be going over to Celestial Vacuity in a 43-minute long game.
Jesus Christ. Also, it's just at the end, both our carries being dead. We're sitting there with 2 tanks and a mental Nocturne. Smolder did so much damage, by the way. He did, I think, like 40% of MS health bar with 1 Q. And then, not calculating the burn, it's ridiculous. He does so much damage, but yeah, it doesn't really matter if he's caught out alone with his pants down and you just kill him.
Yeah, there's a little bit too much dive for this Smolder to be walking up as far as he was walking up. So he did get caught out. He was incredibly, you know, very much the reason that Baron Steelers were able to stay in it for as long as they were, because without this Smolder, they would have been, you know, in a very difficult position. But the Smolder just did so much to keep them in this game. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't enough to force out a win. So it will be now a 1-1 in the series as it is now evened up.
Sorry?
All right. So we will, in fact, be going to a break now as once again these teams get ready for the Game 3 draft. And we will see you very shortly as soon as we are ready to get into the draft for this Game 3. Welcome back to game 3 here, as the score has just been evened up 1-1 with Celestial Vacuity taking their first game of the series. We are now about to get into this draft for game 3, where it is going to be once again blue side secured by Baron Stealers. They're looking to try and mirror their success that they had in game 1 and take home this third game. We are now into the draft, and we will be seeing how these teams are going to be responding to yet another side switch, both of these teams wanting to put themselves on red side.
Yeah, especially with they Baron Stealers decided to ban Malphite game 1, leave it open game 2, and they just got bodied by this Malphite with 800 armor running around. So I'm curious to see if they're gonna ban it again, or if they're gonna leave it open and pick something that doesn't get countered by Malphite.
Yeah, well, given that, they are back on the red side, we might see a similar ban set as they had in game 1, but we are yet to see that. There are some bans that obviously have been seen so far in this series that they may want to look to take away, like that Nocturne potentially. Asol, also a pick that we saw Ferragosto do, even though it was potentially not, it didn't result in a win. That was still an incredibly scary, strong dragon. And the Mundo, once again, another champion that we saw putting in quite a bit of work inside of the first game.
True, but the fun thing is, game 2, Baron Stealers bans Mundo. Gwen is open. Will we maybe see a Gwen pick right now? Because
Gwen first pick is Gwen is a good pick to try and blind early. She's reasonably stable, and it will be Varus for Celestial.
it's an interesting champion. He can go in like 3 ways. He works on a lot of comps. Even though it doesn't matter what build you go, you still need some peel, so that's gonna be interesting. And Gwen being hovered by the side of Barons, it's actually being picked already. Like we mentioned, it's a very strong champion, really easy blind because it works in a lot of matchups. We do instantly give away the flex, probably though.
Yeah, it is most likely, with the Wukong being hovered and all, it's going to be Gwen up into that top side. So easier to counter, but Gwen is still obviously going to be solid. And with, her early game being stronger than it has been in the past, she can do decently well into a lot of these matchups and then still be a menace later on. So it will be a Wukong in the jungle, a strong pick. A strong AD jungler makes sense with the Gwen up in that top side, and he is very strong at those skirmishes, especially once he gets that Cyclone online.
Yes, Garen being picked up by probably Cliff here, as Garen is one of the champions that can really just match Gwen the earlier stages of the game, as he just sits there, spins circles, and does Beyblade things.
Yeah, Garen is an incredibly strong pick into Gwen. I know a lot of Gwen players absolutely hate that matchup and like permaban it inside of solo queue. So it's more about the fact that Garen early can just make the Gwen feel miserable. And sure, while you may outscale.
Did we just counterpick ourselves with Mel into Syndra?
Well, we may or may not have counterpicked ourselves. It's the same matchup as we saw last game, and it did not go well for this Mel. Hopefully, I suppose they're hoping to maybe make it work a little bit better, but we have some really strong counter picks. The Garen into the Gwen is very good. The Syndra into the Mel, we already saw that last game, is a strong lane. So we'll see. I imagine they're going to have to look to play through this bot lane at least somewhat if they want to try and counter pick a Varus and maybe give the support the counter pick for Baron Stealers to try and make this bot lane the avenue that they win through, because it was in fact the avenue that they won through in game 1, and in game 2 Frony was still incredibly strong despite them losing that game.
Yeah. Also, you know what is the doesn't Gwen really enjoy being like the sole real AP damage source on the team? Because Gwen just does a lot of damage, and every time they build some MR, it's not that good for her. So you picking Mel, another AP damage source, gives a lot of value for things like Force of Nature now for this Garen, since he gets movement speed with it, gets onto your backline really easily. So I'm just very iffy on this comp we're trying to build. Yeah,
Yeah,
Bloodletters is a new item though. I forgot. I don't really see that item ever though.
Bloodletters is I think it's, it's that resistances plus the resistances shred. I think it's like an item that you see on like Swain and those sorts of champions, but it makes a lot of sense when you have a lot of AEP on your team. So it's not the easiest item to build though for either like a Mel or a Gwen, because both these champions particularly want to build like more of the damagey sort of stuff as opposed to the bloodletters, which sure it does give you the MR shred, but it's also got the health, and that isn't particularly what you want on like a Mel or a Gwen, I would probably say.
I don't know if we did it on purpose, but we picked like perfect order.
Huh.
Baron Steelers picked perfect order. They didn't need to swap a single champion.
They
That
did, in
might be
fact.
because they don't own certain champs, or that's just because it's struggle luck. Could also be possible.
Well, I mean, given the situation, I think the pick order isn't actually that bad, because you give the you pick the Ezreal knowing that they have the Varus, and then you give the counter pick to your support. And the first pick, Blind Gwen, makes a lot of sense. So a lot of these picks are very, logical in the order that you would expect them to be. So I think it just fell into place like that.
It's nice when it happens,
It's satisfying.
Something that I'm kind of worried about is how Baron Sealer is going to be playing this team fight, because we got Wukong who wants to go hard in, we got Nautilus who wants to go hard in. Gwen is probably just going to side lane. Honestly, I don't see her join team fights very well into these, like both of the comps. And then we have Ezreal Mel who want to stay at range, poke down a bit. The reason why I
Yeah.
personally think Gwen doesn't really want to join team fights is we got Volibear point and click stun. If we don't have our little shroud up, then we get Renata ulted. We shred our team instead of the enemy team. Enemy has a Varus. We just get Chain of Corruption. Like, the enemy has a lot of great answers into Gwen wanting to go in. Can
Yeah, I think a lot of the team fights here from Baron Steelers are going to result in, poke coming out from Mel and Ezreal, and then you just look to hard engage with Wukong and Nautilus. And Gwen, she can possibly look for a flank, but like you said, there's a lot of CC, and I think you have to execute quite well if you want to join a team fight as Gwen. So if you can hold the Garen in a side lane, and the recent changes to Garen have meant that he's pretty decent at like just getting multiple rotations of his spells off. The E lower cooldown, you can get multiple E rotations off, and if you have Conqueror, which we might see, phase rush is probably better for, well, actually I'm not entirely sure, but we might see that coming through. So if he can get multiple rotations off, then he's still pretty strong in a team fight. So if Gwen can hold Garen on side, then it might be just a case of poke out the enemy and then look for a hard engage with Wukong and Nautilus.
True. But you know what? One of the things is as well, is if we want to poke out and enemy decides to go Lethality Varus here, I think they have superior poke, no?
They do have some pretty, Lethality Varus has got some decent poke, and I think the range is probably still there for the Mel and the Ezreal, but with like if Syndra can land a good bit of poke, it's very good. But I think then you have the problem of you don't have the best tools to engage after you land all of your poke. Like you can land your poke and push the Baron Steelers away, but you don't have like the Nautilus, which is the support for Baron Steelers. You don't have that hard engage that Baron Steelers have.
It does look like we're going to be seeing a Lethality Varus, as one of the things I see instantly is a Comet on the Varus. And we actually do see the Lethal Tempo Ezreal, like you mentioned earlier, very, very strong level 1. um, we might see some interesting things happening on bot lane then early on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more in the way of bruisers than we saw in the first game, the Garen and the Volley Bear. And Garen, he is a lot less strong with his crit build than he has been ever since it's been nerfed to only 40% effectiveness as opposed to 75. So crit Garen off the table, most likely you're going to see the bruiser Garen coming out. So it makes a lot of sense for the lethal tempo. And it also means once that poke comes down, you have a lot stronger of a team fight. When you get that engage coming through, you can fight it out a lot better and you've got more consistent damage.
Something dangerous coming out from Baron Steelers here. If they manage to get into the bush unspotted, not spotted, I don't know how you say it, not English. It could be very devastating for someone to get stunned. So I'm curious to see how they will play this out.
Yeah, it's
Because their team comp is amazing for it.
it very much is, as that is most likely what we're going to be able to see here, as they are very much pinging their way to try and get into this mid bush. Everyone coming out on time to try and make it there, and they've got the Nautilus, they've got that dredge line level 1 to very much at least force out a flash if they get in there unspotted. Deadly Ghost will see them, but he will get hooked in via dredge line as he tries to run away, but he gets rooted up by the solar snare. Mecha picking up the first blood, and Deadly Ghost doesn't even have a chance to flash. Now Pikea forced to run away, gets hit by a little mystic shot. The dredge line will just about not land, and Baron Steelers won't be able to get any more, but they will pick up first blood onto this Mel, which is very good looks here in the early game.
Definitely, that will accelerate Mel a bit, especially because she can now, if she decides to base here, she can get a Sapphire Crystal, which helps her a lot during the early game. She's very mana hungry in the early stages. And Syndra decided to get poked to almost half HP for
Yeah.
no reason.
Well, I mean, she did go for the boots, but that doesn't mean she's going to be able to dodge out a lot of these Syndra abilities. And Feroni takes a bit of poke back, but it is Ferragosto taking the brunt of a lot of that, which means that Mel is going to have an even better time in this early game. With that early kill, picking up the tier 1 boots, and having Ferragosto chunked out quite a bit to start, Mel is going to have a much easier time in the early game this game, I imagine.
Yeah. Also, if we're looking at the top side, we see a flashless Gwen and a TP-less Garen. So, I haven't really seen Garen run Ignite that much since the little rework, but I guess it still works.
Yeah, I mean, if you still want to look for those early fights into a Gwen who is weaker early, both of them have Ignite, both of them ignited each other, but it's going to be Cliff who finds the kill. Thanks to that Ignite. I mean, into the Gwen, you can just abuse her early, so Ignite makes sense. But Rosh doesn't have the flash, so we'll just be able to TP back up. A nice dredge line hits from level 2. Ikuya taking a big, heavy trade, and we'll be forced to use that exhaust onto Feroni, who's still raining down with that lethal tempo. Those auto attacks are very lethal. And
the thing with this Gwen, right, is if Gwen has Ignite, she wins level 1. If the Garen doesn't have it, if they both have it, Garen wins. Why are we still taking that level 1 fight? Because that's such a devastating thing now on top lane.
Yeah, I mean, Cliff is sort of locked into this lane now without the TP, won't be able to base and have a TP. So we'll lose a little bit in terms of the wave state there. But, of course, he's got that passive. We'll be able to heal back up and won't be in too bad of a situation, because the only thing that Rosh managed to pick up was a refillable potion. As Gaming Lord, once again, looking for a nice gank, forces the flash out. It's a flash for flash. They're in the mid lane, support for mid, and Ferragosto is just looking rough. No flash, and tier 1 boots on the side of Mecha. And now Gaming Lord's coming back into the bot lane to try and gank his own lane, possibly. He will just return as he gets handshaken away.
Yeah, something happening on the top side as we saw both junglers pathing towards that side. Garen is quite low,
the first one here. Yeah, Cliff just going to spin on that wave as Deadly Ghost gets a bit of damage. Nagato is here now, but Rosh only level 3. Maybe going to have to hit a few minions to level up. But Deadly Ghost is just in the middle of everyone. Won't be able to find the kill until Rosh, and Cliff walking away, leaving his jungler inside the 1v2. Means that It will be a kill as a nice stretch line will once again find Akuya, who doesn't have the barrier anymore. It has been used. Frony has a barrier of his own, but the lethal tempo cannot find Akuya. And once again, this the bailout, even if he did die, it would have been there. Gaming Lord knows the bailout has been used, so finds a kill. And we'll give the assist over to Frony. So all is not bad in the bot lane.
Something that confused me, right, on the top side play, is if Garen fought with his Volibear, wouldn't have just killed Gwen, got Triumph on Volley, and then kill Wukong as well afterwards?
I would say most certainly that is what would have happened, but I think Cliff may be just a bit apprehensive to go in because of the burst possible, but it is, yeah, it's a difficult decision. I think you are right, as Deadly Ghost once again looks for something in mid, but will only force the reset out of Mecha.
Yeah, especially because we had Flash on Garen as well. So if we just go in aggressive, we flash out a Gwen Q if it's necessary, because that's the bulk of her burst. And it's just... Yeah, I'm stuck on that play way too long. Varus is going for the lethality build. We already suspected it because of runes. We get a confirmation now with the Serrated Dirk, unless there's some weird new tech that I don't know of.
Yeah, the serrated Dirk into, I don't know, on-hit Varus. The very popular build that everyone's been doing nowadays.
Yeah. Collector, maybe. I'm personally suspecting zoomies.
Uh-oh, Ferragosto has no flash, gets rooted up by the Solar Snare, and Gaming Lord comes in with the dredge line. It's not enough damage, though. It is just not enough damage. And Ferragosto will be able to live, but Mecha taking over to level 6. The Radiant Volley lands onto Ferragosto, who doesn't have the scatter just yet, and will be run down. There's the scatter coming through. In the bot lane, Negato's coming in for a little gank, and so is Gaming Lord. No kills just yet, but Cliff is spinning on this Gwen. No one's able to find anything anywhere on the map. Just that was a nice mid roam again, and Gaming Lord has had a lot of these nice angles in the mid lane. But Ferragosto's always been able to get out of them somehow. He's down a little bit in the CS department, but otherwise doing incredibly well for himself.
Cool.
Yeah, looks like Rosh going to be using that needlework to try and find the all-in onto Cliff. Jumping forward, skipping and slashing, but Garen able to block a lot of that damage with that W. And now Ferragosto is getting the better of Mecha in these trades.
Yeah, so we saw earlier that the matchup is very Syndra favored since Mel has trouble with deflecting. So we see a lot of prio on this mid lane coming for the help.
Another stretch line from Gaming Lord. Beautiful from this support from Baron Steelers. And he will give a kill to his mid laner.
Yeah, we need to camp this mid lane so we can get Mel ahead. She's a very early game abusing champion. If she gets ahead, she's very abusive during the mid and late game as well. So their game plan here makes a lot of sense. Talking about the Varus item earlier, what do you think it's going to be building into? Are you suspecting a Ghostblade, a Collector, Zoomies?
I can only but imagine it will probably be the Ghostblade, right? It's giving you that mobility that Varus does lack. You get a little bit of extra movement speed, and the active means that you can space reasonably well, and it makes sense. It's usually what you see coming out of the lethality build, because you're not auto-attacking all that much to make use of the crit from the Collector. You're mainly focused on your ability damage, which the 8 extra lethality from the Ghostblade plus the extra passive is going to give you a lot better results in that department. And probably, given that we see that tier coming out, it will be Ghostblade into Mirror Mana.
It looks something like that, very true. Doesn't Zoomies give even more lethality though?
I think that's what I was... a trade in the mid lane. Ferragosto doesn't find a kill, but he flashes for it. I believe Youmuu's used to give you extra lethality, but I think that passive has been put now on Opportunity, which gives you the lethality when, after coming out of combat. I think it's just a flat 18 lethality on the Ghostblade, if I'm not wrong.
I've been calling it Zoomies constantly, but yeah, it's Opportunity. I still call it Zoomies because that was what it was called during PB.
Oh, I see.
I'm sorry, I like the name more, so that sticks. I don't know.
I thought you were just saying Zoomies because the Ghostblade gives movement speed, but Opportunity also gives you that movement speed once you find a kill. So it is a possibility coming out.
Wukong is
Yeah,
looking for a
Wukong,
gank
Nagato's
here.
looking for a gank, and Gaming Lord walking up, trying to land a dredge line. Level 6 is here on the bot lanes, but not for Gaming Lord. He doesn't have access to his ultimate. A nice ultimate chain of corruption landing on Akuya, and Fernie flashes away, but still goes down. The bailout will save Akuya just a little bit. He will go down in the end, but he will pick up 2 kills for his troubles. And a 3v2 turns into 2 kills for the side with only 2 members.
That play from Ikuya, I have to give it credit. Like, flashing forward for the kill confirm on Ezreal, getting bailed out really, really nice from PK, getting that bailout done on your Varus, getting the kill on Nautilus. Sadly, then not getting the Wukong, of course, he's full health. Still, it's such well played.
Yeah. And yeah, with the Rectrix, it does confirm that it's going to be the Ghost Blade, unless this guy's going to be building Kraken Slayer, which is probably not, not going to be happening here. So it will be the Ghost Blade.
Oh no, Opportunity doesn't have the Retrix. Yeah, it's Ghost Blade. Should be Ghost Blade.
No, it doesn't have any base movement speed except for in the passive. As Deadly Ghost is looking to find Nagato, who's able to get away with the Warrior Trickster. And
there he is again.
Is alive in the mid lane. Mecha flashing forward, using the rebuttal, will be able to take down Ferragosto. Gaming Lord, just the presence enough, is able to find a kill for that mid lane. A Deadly Ghost walking up, but will be spotted out by that support, who is in fact the same level as Deadly Ghost. Deadly Ghost flashing forward, but the dredge line pulls him back. Deadly Ghost will pick up a nice shutdown, but Nagato's coming in now. He's able to use the Stormbringer to get away, and Deadly Ghost will just about live.
I really thought he was going to continue that fight with Renata coming up and him having Frenzy active. Oh, Deadly Ghost
Yeah.
very low here.
Lift dropping incredibly low. The needlework just tearing through that health bar, and the true damage from the middle of that snip, snip, snip. Down goes Cliff. Both, once again, those double ignites don't really do too much because, they cancel each other out, sort of. It will be, canceling the healing a little bit from this Gwen as Nagato finding another angle in the mid lane, flashes forward for the second cast of the Cyclone, but Pikaia flashes for the locket and finds the shutdown, which is honestly deserved, going over to this Renata. Beautifully played there and able to save the mid laner and also pick up a kill off of the back of that play.
Oh. I think I see Renata wearing a cape now after that heroic play. Oliver coming in, trying to scout out the Gwen. Will it be in time?
Rosh gets smited. And if it weren't for that smite, you would have finished the recall. But the TP's coming in from Mecha. Cliff flashing forward, but Rosh is able to skip and slash away. They're looking right under the tower. Demacian Justice does, in fact, pick up the kill. But Mecha may be able to trade it back. Has got the golden eclipse. Yeah, trying to throw out a little bit more damage. And boom, down goes Deadly Ghost. He doesn't have the Stormbringer. It's a 1-for-1. And Flash burnt on the top laner for TP burnt on the mid laner.
Yes, I would say it worth. We got a 4-in-1 Mel. Mel is going to be very, very strong here. If Mel gets a single connection with her Solar Snare on this Varus, on this Syndra, on Renata even, they're just dead if she has Golden Eclipse up.
Yeah, pretty much. It's well, you mentioned the Varus possibly and the Syndra being more poke, but if this Mel continues to snowball and get ahead, this is going to be incredibly dangerous poke, and especially with the razor shares.
Ezreal has no mana.
Yeah, this guy cannot shift away. He's trying to at least feign like he's defending the turret, but a handshake will bring him towards his team. Gaming Lord is here in time as the hostile takeover lands onto Frony, but he's just going to start hitting the wave. Pikaia tries to bail himself out, but he can't find a kill to do so. And Ikuya lands a piercing arrow, but it goes through the minions. Frony takes no damage from it. Stormbreaker goes in, but Frony's got enough mana back to shift the way out. And Deadly Ghost jumps in and will go down straight into the gray screen. Ferragosto will pick up a couple plates, but it's not worth the double kill, the triple kill that comes for Baron Stealers in the bot lane.
Yeah, it's just a lot of happened there. Everybody saw red for this low HP Ezreal, and we just kept running in for it, and then his whole gang just pulled up and kind of did its thing without taking any damage because we're all trying to get this Ezreal.
They want that Ezreal, but he was just walking up and baiting as in goes Cliff. He's got the Stride Breaker, he's got Demacian Justice, and Pop goes Rosh. Once again, we're seeing why Garen is just so strong into this matchup. You get the Stride Breaker, and Gwen cannot run away. She doesn't even have Flash, and she's just dead.
Yeah, it's Garen is such a dumb champion. Just presses E, holds onto you. Oh, you're low enough. Justice! So you're dead.
Justice!
But the thing is, yeah, Garen is winning, but we have a 5-in-1 Wukong and a 4-in-1 Mel that are getting kinda scary. Because yeah, our Varus got kills, but if Wukong finds a connection onto this Varus, he can just Cyclone, and I don't think Varus will live very long when that happens.
Oh, Rosh looking to cancel a recall. This time, Rosh will not be successful. Not as successful as Deadly Ghost was, but he will be able to at least get a few hits onto this tower. As, you know, Nash's Tooth Gwen do a bit of damage. Ferragosto is looking to try and TP up to the top side. Rosh looking to maybe take it, but Deadly Ghost is spotted out and will persuade Rosh to stop. As the snip, snip, snip does a good bit of damage, and in goes the Cyclone. Rosh managing to live. Deadly Ghost almost goes down and will, in fact, in the end. And it will be Baron Steelers who answer back in that play. Daddy Cliff trying to at least answer this mid-wave, but the Solar Snare will make him miss the cannon. And now that play is completely not worth.
-1. Yeah, Volibear is also like he has the AP build. He wants to stick on people, but he kind of cannot because enemy just has so many tools to keep him off of them. They have the Cyclone. We got the Solar Snare. Got a Dredge Line. Volley is just not allowed to get his frenzy off a second time. I don't think I've seen him use the frenzy on the target twice now.
Ooh, Solar Snare does not land on Cliff, who has the Stride Breaker, slowing down Mecha.
Justice!
Oh, the rebuttal counters Justice unless you can silence before you use it. Daddy Cliff ulting, but Mecha has the answer back with the ultimate coming down from, with the W, coming down and blocking all of that damage.
Yeah. Now just imagine if it would have reflected instead of blocked.
If Garen ult was a projectile, that would well, to be fair, it probably wouldn't have found the kill, but it would have been there. I think Garen killing himself with his own arm might be the funniest thing that could ever happen in League of Legends.
Oh, I need it, Riot. Give me it. Let me use this guy.
Yeah, I would be careful what you wish for, because next patch, Riot is gonna make Garanar like a projectile, like Urgot, and you can just like snipe someone with it halfway across the map.
Yeah, let's do the same with Cho'Gath, where he whips out his tongue and does it.
It's like Tom Kench when he QRs you, just make Cho'Gath do that.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't be strong at all. Like champion doesn't need to find a connection anymore. Oh, good stun. Doesn't really find that much damage because we're bottled.
Yeah,
Banana
the
coming
tower does in fact do more damage. There's the banana. It lands a little bit of damage, goes down. Deadly Ghost gets interrupted, sent to the sky. Cyclone into Dredge Line, into the depth charge, and another Cyclone. That guy cannot move. And Herald will go to Baron Steelers.
Deadly Ghost used the argument on me last time that he was dying for his team. Sorry, bro. This game, I don't think you're dying for the team. This game, you're just getting caught. They keep collapsing with like 3-4 people. They're doing really well with vision control. Nautilus making great plays. And we're just getting constantly caught everywhere.
Yeah, Frony now might be caught, but he's going to Arcane Shift, not over the wall, just backwards, as now that allows the chase to continue. Nagato trying to get away, but a Hex Gate brings in Deadly Ghost. He is down in levels, and Gaming Lord is around the corner. But Ikuya is 1v1ing this Mel. Yeah, Nagato has to flash away. Gaming Lord not in a position to stop. Flash forward as in goes the Stormbringer. Deadly Ghost won't be able to find a kill though, as the Warrior Trickster will bring Nagato to safety. And now Gaming Lord maybe looking to bring Deadly Ghost under the tower. The Dredge Line just about out of range, and now Ferragosto unleashes the power and finds a kill. Deadly Ghost just about lives through that tower shot. And a nice play overall, but Mecha looking to make a bit of distance with the rebuttal. Ferragosto's over the wall. Scatter doesn't connect, but the slow from the volley E will, which will allow him to Hexgate his way out of the danger.
Yeah, even though Volley is on almost a full item down, During that fight right now, he is a full item down. Was a level down. Oh, we see a fight on top lane. Justice coming down.
Yeah,
very
Rosh
soon. There
will
it is.
just get popped by Demacian Justice. And once again, it's just Garen gaming, baby. He spins on you and then he ults you in the face. What can you do? Unless you're Mel,
let
nothing.
it rip. Babe. Oh, but like I was saying earlier with the Volibear, it's like, yeah, he's a full level down, he's a full item down almost, but he still has lethal tempo and Volibear Frenzy on. They're not winning that. Oh,
Yeah.
good hook.
And Pikea tries to steal away the Drake. Will go down for the sins. And it will be a kill going over to Mecha. I mean, a valiant attempt to try and stop Soul Point, I suppose, but I'm not entirely sure how good of an idea it is to walk up, especially when they can all just jump over the wall. Deadly Ghost is now in his own jungle, and Gaming Lord tries to stop him from being so. Nagato goes in, he's got a nice Cyclone. Deadly Ghost dropping low. Can he try and get the heal off? It will be Ferragosto TPing in, who will be the first to die, as the True Shot Barrage will get a little bit of an assist, as Deadly Ghost goes down as well. It's a 2-for-1.
Yeah, Wukong having 2 items there, just doing so much damage. His Q, I don't know the name, shreds the armor, and then Cyclone coming through, just does way too much.
Nimbus Strike, I want to say. I want to say it's a Nimbus Strike.
Is that his E? Let me check.
That might be his E. That might actually be his E.
Crushing Blow. Nimbus Strike is
Crushing Blow. Yeah, I mean, old champion. Crushing Blow makes sense. It's generic enough. As, I mean, Lethality Varus is going to do so well into this team with the shredded resistances as pop! Down goes Nagato, and they do still manage to find the Atakan with Mel, but Mel goes down as well. It's 2-for-0. Can Daddy Cliff answer back in the top lane? Justice, but the healing is there from the snip, 1,000 cuts, keeps Rosh alive, and Daddy Cliff goes down. In goes the Dredge line. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, as Akuya dropping so low, uses the barrier, and Frony has the stack lethal tempo, trying to find a kill onto Pikea now. There is the ultimate coming out of Gaming Lord, but a nice piercing arrow finds the damage in return, and now Gaming Lord has no way out of this one. It's a double kill for Deadly Ghost in the bot lane. What just happened?
On bot line is you know why Gwen won that fight? Not just because of healing. Cliff auto attacked the turret instead of the Gwen. Well, when Gwen was 1 HP, and that allowed her to get the healing off.
You know what? You'll see why that's useful late game. Cliff is going to get this tower by 1 HP as Deadly Ghost is now going under the tower to try and find Mecha. Unleashed Power finds its mark and Akuya picks up the kill. The burn damage is there on Akuya, but Mel is not alive to use the Golden Eclipse, and Akuya will live with just 1 hit point. I didn't actually see the number, but it was basically 1 hit point.
It could have been very, very close to 1 because he has 31 right now. What did we say about Crit Garen not being a thing anymore? I'm not seeing that though. I'm seeing a Phantom Dancer.
It does appear that he is going for the Phantom Dancer. I did a little bit of maths. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Rosh going in with Nagato to try and find Cliff, but Pikea is on the way to try and bail out the top laner. He will not get the bailout in time, but Deadly Ghost has now arrived, taking a kill onto Nagato, making it 1-for-1. Gaming Lord coming up to try and stop them from going any further. And so is Mecha coming out of this Hex Gate. But Gaming Lord looking for Dredge line, just about doesn't hit. But Deadly Ghost is now running him down. Mecha's coming in though, as a nice depth charge knocks them both into the sky. The reflect on the Renata ultimate makes Pikea completely berserk. And down he goes as well.
Also, one of the things right now is Volibear is actually getting really, really back into this game. He started 1-6, he's 5-7 now. He's only down a pickaxe. No, not a pickaxe. A pickaxe and a Kindle Gem right now, instead of being a full item down. So he's doing more than he was before. I'm very proud of him. He's taking his way back into this game.
And now Rosh getting run down even more by Deadly Ghost, as he will try and skip and slash his way out, but Deadly Ghost is still pretty darn fast. He's got the tempo stacked up, and Rosh tries to use some of the needles, but even 2 levels up, he can't find his way out. Mecha will be scattered and will go down, so that's 2 kills across the board for
Is
Celestial.
it just me, or could have Gwen just fought it? Because Gwen is level
She very
15.
much might have been able to fight that, but she chose to try and run away instead, and it did result in her death.
Okay. My goat, Deadly Ghost, is gonna carry the shit out of this game right now.
Yep.
I'm ready.
And it looks like Daddy Cliff got the tower. It was all planned. That's why he autoed the tower.
Yeah, now he got back fast enough so the Ezreal didn't reach him.
Yeah. It's
Oh.
all part of the plan. A nice handshake will send Gaming Lord out of the way of the scatter. So, but it will be a Drake started up here, and it will
me
be
going
their
out?
first of the game if they can get it. Can Baron Steelers try and steal it? They don't have their. Oh, Nagato's going in now as the dredge line lands onto Ferragosto. A nice hostile takeover hits two of them, and the Drake is going down. Deadly Ghost will indeed secure it. But there is the Solar Snare flashed into by Ikuya, who will go down as well. It's 2 kills inside of that Solar Snare, 3 in total from this fight. And they make up the Drake, but they will lose a lot of their team members.
Yeah, I don't think we can be hitting Drake there when Wukong is just shredding our backline, making sure that even if we get the Drake, we just instantly lose the fight right after. Like, I understand you need the Drake because of soul points, but wouldn't it be better to take the fight and then try and get the Drake after the fight if you win it?
Daddy Cliff is looking for a flank of some kind, as he will just get pulled in by a dredge line, rooted up, stunned up. Ferragosto's there. A nice scatter as Cliff picks up one with Demacian Justice. Ferragosto unleashes power and picks up another. It's a 2 for 2, but they managed to take 2 Barons off of Baron Steelers at least. So a decent trade, all things considered.
Most important thing is that we got the Baron off of the Gwen, which is now much less of a menace in the side lane. We actually see Gwen has bowled Bloodletter's second instead of the usual Rift Maker. I do think that did the number on her dueling power. It's fine, but I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Deadly Ghost is now speccing into a little bit of that magic resist with probably a Jack show coming up next, but we don't really see too much of it so far on the side of Celestial. So it hasn't done the most just yet. It's still obviously useful to shred through those base magic resistances, but it is it's not put in as much just yet because the only MR that we see so far is that Negatron cloak on Deadly Ghost. And also, I can now finally get a chance to talk about this Garen because after running the numbers, hopefully, okay, never mind, they're going in for a fight again. A dredge line lands onto Pikea, who gets knocked up into the sky. Golden Eclipse come down and finds the kill as Frony flashes or shifts away from that Stormbringer, and now Deadly Ghost has to try and run away. He flashes into his own E to try and get the shield, and a shutdown will go to the piercing arrow from Akuya. There is the chain of corruption to try and stop them from going any further. It will root all 3 of them, and the blight is stacking. The piercing arrow does a good bit of damage, and it will be a 2 for 1 as Gaming Lord doesn't land that dredge line. And
he's happy that he wasn't a centimeter farther, because then he would have hooked the wall and died.
Yeah, that is true. Just the perfect range on that one. But before they look for another engage,
numbers.
I'm going to talk
Tell me.
numbers. I did like the maths, and basically, the only time that Phantom Dancer is better than Yomu's Ghostblade on Garen is in the like very edge case scenario that you are level, I think 15 or 16 or 17, which is when Ghostblade when you will get 3 extra spins from your base attack speed instead of 2 extra spins, and also your opponent has a lot of armor. So basically, Ghostblade is almost always better, except for like for 3 levels, and if your opponent has like 100 armor or something, you know. So
But
for the most part, Ghostblade is going to be better.
We are at the level 16, and Gwen has armor boots, so she has 137 armor. And she gets armor from her W. So Cliff has Mega Brain, and he...
True, he was planning for this moment, but as soon as he ticks over to like level 17, 18, then that all goes out the window again, because then I think the maths was you need 300 and something armor for Ghostblade to be worse than Phantom Dancer at that point. So unless this Gwen starts building like a maniac and goes Thornmail into Jack-Show, we're probably not gonna see that. But
We
you
do
never
see
know.
Frozen Heart for Ezreal.
True, true. But I highly doubt that makes him
190.
well, 190. Hey, if the Jack Show comes out, then Cliff is a genius and is a mathematical goat.
I think that the words cliff and genius should never be used in the same sentence.
Well,
So-
if that's the case, then Frony should not build any more armor. If he, it's probably going, probably going to be the Shojin next, if I had to guess. But it could be a Jack Show. I highly doubt it, but it could be.
It very well could be. And we're looking at this final dragon for side of Baron Steelers. They got the vision set up. It's a very
Yeah, they're
infighting
looking to try and
gold
secure this
value, but we need vision control. Team who has vision control probably wins this fight here.
Yeah, and Cliff looking for something as that chain of corruption lands. Mecha getting bursted down, forced to flash away, but the Cyclone is good to interrupt. A nice wave of Berserk flies in, and Nagato gets negated, but Gaming Lord tries to get in there with the Dredge line. It's a 3v4 at the moment as Cliff is still pushing, as is Rosh, but Cliff is closer and more able to join the fight. Mecha goes on a rampage, but Demacian Justice will shut him down swiftly. Gaming Lord on the front line goes down as Frony tries to shift out of there. Will get into his base and will be the only one in this fight to live. Rosh doing a good job at trying to open up this inhibitor, but it will in fact result in a Drake, the second of the game, going over to Celestial Vacuity.
That fight was very unique with the Mel being caught out there. She had W up. She didn't choose to deflect the Chains of Corruption. Neither did she deflect the arrow from Varus after the Chain of Corruption. She also didn't deflect the hostile takeover. Drake
Oh,
Stealer?
Rosh going in to try and steal it, but the smite is there from Deadly Ghost. But Rosh now has the backup of his Ezreal, who does shift in there. They will pick up a trade kill onto Deadly Ghost, who this time I think you can say that one is justifiably dying for your team.
Yes, I was gonna say that. That was a good death. Baus would be proud.
And Baus would be proud. However, this Baron is now spawning up and they don't have a jungler for it. And with this Gwen damage, I could very much see Baron Steelers bursting through this Baron quite quickly. They have most of their members here. Mecha has the TP and Gaming Lord's doing a good job at zoning and establishing that vision. Baron will go down very quickly thanks to this Gwen. Ferragosto trying to walk up with the rest of his team. And Daddy Cliff is on a big flank. The hostile takeover is big, and Cliff has already secured 2. Nagato's in the backline. He finds 1 kill, but he's going to go down for it. And overall, it's a 2-for-1, which does force Baron Steelers to get off of the Baron. And with Deadly Ghost coming back up, it seems like Mecha's going to try and stop them. But Celestial, they want this Baron. They will get off, though, when they see Mecha coming around the side as these Radiant Volleys do a good bit of damage, and the reflected piercing arrow, Golden Eclipse, takes down Ikuya, and Gaming Lord is here. Mecha going the wrong way a little bit, but Deadly Ghost will be able to get out. Mecha manages to find one, almost the second as well. One more auto attack would have probably done the trick.
Perfectly hitting 2 people with a reflected Q from Varus.
Yeah, Ikuya softening up his own team. Mecha gets engaged upon. Gaming Lord doesn't hit the dredge line, and Cliff, even in spite of the rebuttal, will be able to pick the kill off onto Mecha, even without the justice of Demacia.
I really thought that we were gonna have like pro play moments here, where first we have a proud Baus and then we have a proud Gumayushi with the Varus steal, but sadly, we didn't.
The only thing that Varus stole was his own life when he's got his arrow reflected. Nagato going in to try and take down Daddy Cliff. He got the W, he's got the resistances, but he gets knocked up into the air, slowed down by the needlework. He is so unbelievably fast, though. No skip and slash can keep up with him, as he's got the stride breaker and the decisive strike, and he's going to be able to get out to safety.
Yeah, we had the Beyblade versus the Beyblade. That fight,
Yeah.
so many people.
Who
just
spins
spinning
more?
around.
Yeah. Deadly Ghost going in, a nice hostile takeover, but Gwen is immune. She will be able to dodge away from that one. She is doing a good job at taking a lot of this in the front line, because she has a lot of resistances and can dodge away from a lot. But Ferragosto hits the scatter. Deadly Ghost goes in, and Gaming Lord will fall. Mecha's coming in now from the back to make it an even 4v5, which is not even at all. But
Chains missed. Chains of Corruption missed. Oh, that's so unfortunate. This fight can actually be very
doesn't mean they don't
even,
get
even though
more.
Naughty is down.
Yeah, Daddy Cliff once again trying to come in from the side, from out of vision, but they will answer him pretty quickly as he's trying to run away now. Frony doesn't have really any CC, so Cliff will just be able to sprint away. Deadly Ghost once again walking up as they're trying to look for an engage. Frony has the Arcane Shift, is able to get away, but there's so much movement speed from Deadly Ghost that a two-man scatter lands. Ferragosto picks up a kill. Nagato has to try and get away, but now Rosh is on the back line with two members standing on him. Ikuya is dropping low though. The needlework will take him so low. He will be bailed out and he will be saved. Mecha's coming in, trying to pick up the kill. Golden Eclipse will in fact be successful. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fight, everyone else is dead. Mecha will be spun on and a rebuttal will not be enough to save him. And Gaming Lord goes down, tries to rejoin the rest of his team and realizes they have all been sent to heaven. And this guy's not going to be able to solo steal this Baron, so it will be going over to Celestial Vacuity.
I'm very curious if Cliff has the Beyblade theme song blasting in his ears right now. With the way he's spinning on these people. It's very But we're going to such a long game again with a massive gold lead being built up by Celestial here. We got a 7k gold lead. We were down what, like 4 or 5k gold during the mid game, by the way. So this comeback is going crazy. Ghost is getting insane picks. He's stunning this Ezreal. He's stunning the Mel constantly. He made a great comeback for himself.
Yeah, somehow, in some way, Deadly Ghost is back in this game 4 items strong. He is in fact now stronger than Nagato. He's up a level, he's up an item. And now Frony flashed on, and he will be able to flash over the wall, but it will be a flash for flash trade. And Garen is pretty strong with the flash, so it could be a lot worse, but he's now got the Guardian Angel, so he's going to be so unbelievably strong inside of these team fights if he can't get picked off earlier. And even if he does, he'll be able to buy so much time for his team to join him that it just looks like there's no real contest from Baron Steelers. Actually, Gaming Lord's going in. He lands a nice ultimate, but the wave is there, and it will root them up, stun them up, and Ikuya finds the first kill. It's 3 kills so far, 4 make it, and it's just Mecha who manages to survive. I have no idea what happened in that team fight.
Well,
everyone blew up.
Baron Steelers decided to go in very, very aggressively, very early on. The downside on that is our Mel wasn't there yet, so the enemy has a free hostile takeover, and we all just kill each other. Because Wukong does a lot of auto attack damage, Ezreal does a lot of auto attack damage, and Gwen does it as well. So we all just kill each other.
Yeah, and they also going to be able to kill this Nexus, as after that play, they just waltz down the mid lane, and they take Game 3, Celestial, in what looked like a rough game and a good start for Baron Steelers. They managed to turn it around and take game number 3 here.
I am very, very proud of our Volibear for being able to get back in that game. Like, he was behind so much. And
Yeah, I mean,
I'm happy to not see a Blackfire Torch from the Cinder right as our
True.
as he normally
It's
really
probably,
likes to build that item.
Probably better on a Aurelion Soul than Syndra, if I had
True,
to guess. Yeah.
Okay, we are looking for someone for an interview. I'm curious to see if anyone is still down after these 3 rough games. We're running it kind of late. Mel did a lot of damage this game, which is normal. Since she got ahead early, she could really do her bully stuff. Just really think that Azonias would have helped her a long way in this game.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah, there was a lot of picking off going on. A lot of, you want to be strong. You obviously want to build damage, but I think at a certain point, you got to get that resistances. As we now have. Oh, okay. We have Deadly Ghost and Pikea able to come for an interview. We will be able to get them in shortly.
Ooh, my goat. He played well. I'm proud of him. I flamed him last time. I flamed Deadly Ghost last time because he died too much. This time I have to give him compliment. Cliff doesn't deserve compliment because it's Cliff. But okay. He is waiting in the room. We're still waiting on Pikea, and then we can be adding the interviews.
Yeah.
So we have a
And
slight delay.
yeah, we do indeed. But I doubt it will be taking too much longer, as we have one of the two members in wait, and it is just Pikea who we're waiting for. But nonetheless, I mean, a great series overall anyway from both of these teams, because Baron Steelers, they looked like they were almost going to take it.
They were very, very close. They were had a lot of goal during this last game. As we have the two players from Celestial coming in just now. We got the jungler Deadly Ghost and the support Pikea.
Yes.
Do you have any questions for them, Frio?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to first of all congratulate you on your win, because you played incredibly well overall in this series. And first I want to ask what were your thoughts about that game 3, because it looked very skeptical early on, but you managed to hold your own and you managed to pull it back. So how was that?
I mean, you gotta keep the mental in there, of course. But we all our series so far have not been this this difficult. And props to the enemy team as well. They played really well. But yeah, after the game 1 was obviously we were all a bit taken aback. But we managed to bring it back, and especially in game 3, being 5 KL behind didn't make it easy. But we managed to do some good plays here and there, and that eventually led to a good end result.
Yeah, echoing what Pika said, I think keeping the mental up, constantly talking about what's our next objective, even in that game 1 when we got behind, and when we could scale up with the ASL and we could mount a comeback. We hinted a little bit towards the end of game number 1, which gave them the victory, but I still think very good series.
Yeah, definitely. Overall, just some good League of Legends. I want to ask about the draft, because you had some incredible picks especially in that game 3. You had counter picks in top and mid, and despite them picking mid after you, but you had incredibly strong top and mid. And was that more you were looking to counter pick, or was it you're just lying back on comfort, or was it more like, we could go Garen here to counter this Gwen, for example?
I think it was a bit of both, personally. I mean, or no, a top laner. Gwen Wukong could have still been a flex in our opinion, but eventually he was like, neither one of them. Garen is fine, and I think for our mid lane it was really just a comfort pick, because he's very comfortable on the Syndra, and into any matchup he can do quite well. And in the end, Syndra also just skills really well, which also helped us a lot.
Yep. 100%. I don't have anything to add there.
I'm seeing some questionable, not questionable. I'm seeing someone being questionable about your Volibear build. You want to say anything about that, or you just want to keep it like that?
All I'm gonna say is, I built what felt right, and in the end, I won the game.
Exactly. That's what we call
is true.
Confidence.
Okay, so I was looking. I'm going to elaborate a little bit. Just not to be an asshole, but so I went for Cosmic, and once I saw that there was a lot of skirmishing happening on the map, like especially with like their Gwen and their Wukong, I thought, okay, Sundered Sky would probably be really good here, especially if I'm fighting into 3 melees with the Nautilus there, and so I went for that Sundered Sky, and then I saw that the Mel and the Wukong were dealing both some significant damage to me. So I thought, okay, let's go Jack Shows just for that extra tankiness, and then I went Spirit Visage for the heal. And I know that it's an unorthodox build, but it's still a build that gives you a lot of movement speed, that gives you a lot of healing, and you're still tanky as fuck, as you saw in those later fights in the skirmishes where the Gwen and the Wukong couldn't one-shot me.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
you
makes
did
a lot of
scale
sense if you explain it.
decently well, actually. Yeah. You were very strong inside of that late game. I want to finally ask, as what was your general game plan for, as far as jungle pathing goes? Because there were some like very how do I say, like, scrappy games. They were very all over the place. So was there, like, just let things play out as it is, or was there more of a general idea of I want to play for this lane and try and keep them ahead, or what was the idea there?
For all three games, I had a game plan of what to do and how to play. Game one, everything got thrown in the water simply because of that late invade and then that level 1 skirmish that put Cliff behind. Cliff, once again, I'm very sorry, very sorry. Please don't boot me off the team, please. But yeah, as for games number 2 and 3, we just went with what felt natural from the draft. Like with the J4, I was pathing towards bot lane, scouting out the brush play with the flag was really important, just for me to be able to see what's going on, and then from there it was just. For game number 2, we knew that bot lane was going to be extremely volatile, and so I wanted to keep at least just to keep a little bit of attention around. But then the Shen was overextending quite a bit after he hit level 6, and when he was ulting bot lane, it was always an unfair advantage. So I thought, okay, let's go focus the Shen a little bit, simply because he overextends when he pushes the lane, and that's how we got a lot of skirmishes and a lot of catches up, and I got fed.
Well, it certainly seemed to work, and well played to you, because you did in fact win. So congratulations. And unless Black Wolf has anything that they want to add, that will be all for this interview. And
No, I don't think I have any further questions. Most of my questions have been answered by you already asking them. So.
Well, in that case, yeah. Unless, thank you very much for coming on for this interview. Thank you for giving us a wonderful game. And unless you want to add anything, you guys, or say anything to anyone, we will in fact let you go.
No,
Micah's my goat.
No, just think the team. We had a few moments where mentally we kind of crashed a bit, but we recovered really well from that. And I think, honestly, props to everyone in our team for staying cool and eventually getting the victory.
Yeah, especially game number 3, I felt like we were like
3.
6k behind at one point. So just knowing that we can mount that nasty comeback and then take the win after some really good plays is really encouraging for what we can do come playoffs.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, guys. And that has been all for this stream and this covering of Celestial Vacuity versus Baron Steelers. And thank you everyone for coming and watching, and thank you to all of the players for coming and playing and giving us a wonderful series to cast. And we will see you next time on Celestial Esports.